This is a
So, right,
family-friendly
like, fast
This is a
enough, blurry.
family-friendly
Fine.
broadcast.
Fuck
And
family friendly.
we're live. Welcome to another episode of Late Night Take 3. As you can see, we've already gone off the rails, and it's
Copa,
only,
we are not child friendly. Do not show your kids our stuff.
but I've got a great panel of people here. But to my whatever side, this is Matt. Matt, how's it going?
I was about to say I'm doing well, but not totally. Had a bad day at work. Came home. Was doing well until someone who abandoned me in Burbank just drove the knife into my back even more. And I'm not going to call her out, but I'm just going to say she is on this panel. Okay? Like, I'm just saying, Miss Smithy over there.
Don't talk about Doug that way. It's just not very nice.
I was trying to be PC about it, just calling him out. Her out, I mean. I don't know where this joke is going, but hi, everyone. Misa back. Aren't you happy that we brought this show back? All 60 of you?
No one's happy. None of us are happy.
But also here we've got Ryan Permison. Ryan, how's it going?
I don't know how I can top that introduction, but I'm doing well, sir. Thank you so much for having me. Happy New Year to everybody. This is 2020. Anything can happen. Everything old is new again. I bought several VHS tapes. I bought a DVD VCR combo that I'm going to put in the man cave. Rewatch some classic movies on VHS. Heck, I was watching Indiana Jones and Last Crusade earlier today on VHS. That was fun. Other than that, I'm happy to be here on the show with this fantastic panel of people such as yourselves. So I can't wait to dive into this thing and talk some DC movies later on in the show.
Kristen does not approve of VHSs by her facial expressions. Or just, is it Diet Raiders? That was the problem. And we have 2 dogs!
But yeah, also here we've got Doug.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? I just disappeared for like a minute. It's all good. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good. And last but not least, we've got Kristen Smith. Kristen, how's it going?
Yep. I feel right. I feel like we're right back where we left off. Everything is the same. Everyone is just awful, and I cannot wait. No, everyone's fine.
You know, Kristen, that's quite a difference of opinion we have here.
But anyway,
there's something in my eye.
But anyway, this is like we're talking DC movies today. But before we sort of get to our main topic, we've got a few other things which popped up throughout the week. With movie news, trailers, other things. But the first thing I'm going to touch on. I hope that this doesn't become a trend and we start off on a sad note. But unfortunately, it came out. I think it was yesterday. That great actor Kirk Douglas, known for Spartacus, had passed away at 103 years old. I had to say I don't think I've seen a lot of his movies, to be honest, but from what I've sort of seen clips of, like everyone knows the whole "I'm Spartacus" sort of scene and all that. But Matt, sort of what are your thoughts on sort of Kirk Douglas?
Yeah, Kirk Douglas was really the last of those old school, like classic leading men. You know, the Charlton Heston types. He was someone who never really like lost his stardom. Like he, of course, like as he got older, he wasn't, doing the similar stuff that, he got into, but he never lost that charisma. Him and I'm sorry, I keep bringing up Heston, but they're very similar, and Heston's one of my favorite actors. They both never lost that charisma, which can't be taught when you're an actor. Like you either have it or you don't, and he never lost it. Even he had it in Spartacus, and then he had it in like something like 1990, I believe it's Six's like Greedy with Michael J. Fox. Like he still had it. 103, like wow, to be that old and to have read Michael Douglas's statement, to have been there to see the birth of his grandchildren, his great grandchildren, to just be around, but more so than that, to leave behind a body of work that is so amazing and classic films. He's certainly going to be one of those actors that generations after us, we're still going to know the name Kirk Douglas, and as Kevin Smith would say, big bucket of win.
But yeah, Ryan, what are your sort of thoughts on Kirk Douglas?
All I know is that he's a legendary actor who did a lot in his career, whether it be in front of the camera, maybe some stuff behind the camera, but I have not seen a single one of his projects, so I cannot really comment much nor speculate on this person. But hey, 103 years old, nothing to sneeze at, great legacy, long time. What is that? That's a century, right? So yeah, that's a plethora of years of experience, life experiences under your belt, and his children, his great-grandchildren, all that kind of stuff. We're sorry to hear about the loss. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them at this time. But yeah, I definitely got to sit back and watch some of his work, including that little indie film called Spartacus. I've heard some things about that, like it's one of the GOATs. So I got some homework to do after this show, apparently.
And Kristen, sort of, what are your feelings about Kirk Douglas?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in a ton of things, but the majority of his like really iconic roles are from the 50s or the 60s, long time ago. Movie that hasn't been talked about yet is Paths of Glory, Kubrick's directorial debut. It's a great movie, and he's fantastic in it. And he also was in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which was also great Disney live action movie from way back in the day. He was a guy who took these roles very seriously. Some of them were a little cheesy, but he always kind of took the part he was given, and he was a true thespian in every sense of the word, where no matter the role, he played it to the best of his ability. And I think that's really commendable, and you can tell the sort of life he lived based on the people who have talked about him, and all the things people have been saying have all been just really great to see. And I'm glad he got to live such a really good, long life.
Yeah. And Doug's kind of stepped away for a little bit, but if we really comes
He was a really
back,
big Kirk Douglas fan.
Yeah.
but when he comes back, I'll get his thoughts on this. But another thing that I'll sort of throw in here before we get into the box office, just because it happened this week, I don't know how many people actually care about this. Is the Super Bowl happened? One of the teams won. I do not know which. I didn't go that.
Kansas City.
The 69ers, right?
Right. I think it's the Kansas City Chiefs that actually
It's
won. It was the
Kansas's
first time they've
greatest
won a Super Bowl in
football
50 years,
team.
which is insane.
And they're from Kansas, correct? Believe me, I saw it on
Kansas
Twitter
City.
from a very important person, so I know
I
it's
think,
true.
I think it's Kansas City, Missouri, but whatever.
No, definitely Kansas. It's
Oh,
fine.
it is Kansas.
Definitely
Okay, sorry.
Kansas.
No, it's not. It's Missouri.
Oh,
It's
cool.
fine.
I was right the first time. Thanks
Yeah.
for correcting me.
I mean, Donald Trump can't be wrong. So
Yeah.
Wasn't gonna name him, but all right, Malcolm.
Do you think he's gonna watch this and be really
But
mad at you
I
or something,
watched-
Matt?
I went
Probably.
It's amazing. Well, it used to be amazing. It's kind of going downhill now. They need more Schmodown reactions. They don't do nearly enough. It used to be huge. But
The
now
season's already started.
I love Call to Action. They do all the reactions. They're amazing. The coat, Matt Kearns, he's a joke. The boat, Brad Gilmore's the best. He's the best.
but anyway, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Doug, what is your sort of thoughts about Kirk Douglas?
After that, Malcolm?
Yeah, now we're going back to Sad Town.
No, not Sad Town. I think he should be a person that's celebrated.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't think 103 years old is anything to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he was 103.
Long
He
time.
got up there. He was still acting into his 90s. So
Around there.
Yeah, his last role was in like 2010 or something.
Yeah,
so-
after a couple of years ago. I think
That's
that was only
insane.
because of his not
pretty
his
good.
health, but just yeah.
He was like, Grim Reaper, come on and fight me. And he lasted a few more years after that, so he was good. No, I think he was an incredible actor. Something that he always lives on is basically, I am Spartacus. That role will live on in infamy forever.
But does anyone have anything they want to say about the Super Bowl before we go into box office?
It happened. Let's move on.
It did happen.
I
I
was
didn't
playing
watch
my-
it.
Malcolm, how many times do I have to tell you? I don't sports. Okay,
I
don't sports.
I was at a
don't.
bar playing my Switch whilst the first part of the game happened. I also lost $6 at work.
Oh, did you now?
And one of the girls who worked with me won 4 different boxes at work. And I won
Wow.
0.
That's insane.
What was
That's a
in
lot
the
of boxes.
boxes?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
Yikes. Split into 4 different parts?
Yeah.
4 different
Yeah,
parts.
we're
I mean,
really we're big movie fans at work, so we go all out when it comes to
Nice.
screen accuracy. My manager came in with bloody hands, and I pulled out the gun. I was like, "Freeze!" I broke my arm too before I did it.
Yikes.
But anyway,
That went dark.
time to go into the box office.
Yes.
Last week in the box office, Bad Boys for Life came in at number 1 with 17.7 million.
So
1917 came in second with 9.5 million. Doolittle was third with 7.6 million. Gretel and Hansel came in at 6.2 million, and still hanging in there is Jumanji: The Next Level, which took in another $6 million. Gentlemen just completely dropped out. But Doug, what are your thoughts on the box office?
Why is Doolittle 3? Who's paying to go see that movie? I'm just asking. It's a bad movie. I had A-list. I have A-list, so like that was one of my free movies. I didn't have to pay for it. AMC paid for it. But why? All the other movies I'm fine with. Jumanji's still kicking butt. I mean, it won't be there next week, but I still like that movie.
Oh no, Doug. Technically, some people would say you paid for it by having to say Doolittle.
No. I get 3 movies a week. 2 of those movies pays for the
No, I
membership
mean you
itself.
paid for it in the fact that you had to watch Doolittle.
Oh yeah, I can't get that like almost 2 hours of my life back. So no,
What, it was 2 hours?
it's close to that.
Dude, that's
Dude, Birds of
bad.
Prey isn't even 2 hours long.
Oh, really?
It's an
not 2
hour and
hours.
49
I'm sorry.
minutes.
Wait.
Oh,
Some
that's awesome.
editor sat there watching the
I'll tell you
rough
the
of that
exact
movie
time.
and went, "This needs to be about 2 hours."
Oh.
I will
Hopefully
tell
I
you
get to
right
see
now.
that one next week.
But yeah, I personally didn't hate Doolittle myself.
Oh my god.
I,
Is it,
I-
your,
like-
new
It's an hour
movie,
and
is it your
41
new
minutes.
movie 43, Mel?
There you go.
but Kristen, what are your thoughts on the box office?
There's nothing out yet, and that's kind of why like some of these movies are still hanging on. Like wait, for this week, and then a couple weeks from now when some of these bigger movies come out, and there's gonna be a lot of movement. But yeah, Jumanji's probably gonna hang in there, and who the heck knows what else? And then all the people who are like, oh hey, 1917 is an Oscar movie, we should watch it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just like there's nothing out yet, so
And
it's pretty
one,
uneventful.
what are your thoughts on the box office?
Well, considering the fact that one of the movies that's not in the top 5 is on my most anticipated list, I haven't even seen it yet, despite that I kind of heard it got panned, and that's the Kristen Stewart film Underwater that I wanted to see. I guess I could just wait for that on Redbox or Divida, my local library. What's up, guys? Yeah, I don't care about these top 5s. I really have no interest in seeing any of these movies except for 1917, but I will see it at some point. If not in theaters, I will see it when it comes out on streaming or whatever it is. But yeah, nothing's really getting me out of bed in the morning except for the potentiality of me going to see Birds of Prey next weekend. I just can't see it this weekend because I got a very busy weekend ahead of me. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna get the Birds of Prey. It's gonna happen. But as far as this top 5, I guarantee you, 15.5 million of this box office for Bad Boys for Life came from Josh McCouga's wallet. That's all I'm gonna
We
say.
ride.
He's got that. He's got that new show money. He's got that History Channel money.
There you go.
He can do it.
I think Bad Boys should have paid him to go and see the movie like 20 times.
The fact that, like,
Dude, he's probably already seen it like 40
Look,
times.
the fact that we live in a world where Josh McCouga was not used for any promotional material for this movie is a sad, sad world.
They didn't even need to make any trailers. Just have him like run onto the screen and just be like, "Guys,
go see Bad Boys for Life."
They're making a third one. Go rewatch the first and the second to catch up, and then go see Bad Boys for
Literally-
Life 30 times like I did.
If this is what the commercial could have been, it could have been Josh McCouga, like it would have been a white screen and just with Josh McCouga like, "Guys, Bad Boys for Life. You need to see it," like doing all this crazy stuff. And then you just cut to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence like, "Our fans are weird." And then they go back to do whatever they're doing. See, Hollywood, you need to call me.
But Matt, what are your thoughts on the box office?
You just want me to not do my predictions? Just is that?
we haven't done
we'll get
predictions
about-
yet.
Yeah,
We haven't done them
Jumanji
yet.
Holding on
Matthew.
is Jumanji holding on. It's weird, but also it's January, so I'm not too shocked. The Gentleman being knocked off does not shock me because that movie, like, no one seemed to care about. Doolittle being number 3. I think I said it last week. It was really the only new family movie out. Parents who just don't want to like actually talk to their kids need to go and see a movie, so they're going to go and take and see that. Bad Boys for Life. Yeah, these action movies always do well in January. If they're pretty good, then people, when they want to get out, they'll go and see those types of movies. So all in all, it's a pretty standard box office for it's a January box office.
It's January. It's toilet bowl season.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, whoa. We ride together, we die together. Bad Boys for Life.
Jesus.
Dude, the trailer for that was so bad. It was such a horrible trailer.
For 4. Get out of here. I
It's a
can't wait
horrible
for
trailer
4.
for 3.
I can't wait for 4. And Bad Boys
Are they
for
making a
Life.
4th one? Really?
Yes, they are. Bad Boys for
Wait,
Life.
time
Wow.
out.
Boys for
They're
Life
making a
was
4th one,
just
but they
Gemini
called
Man.
this one Bad Boys for Life?
Yeah.
I know. Bad titles, guys.
You
Bad
save that
titles.
for the next one, and then
No,
you
the
just
next
do
one. The next one's going to be called Bad Boys 5 Life.
Wait, no.
So it's
Couldn't
fine.
it? Wait, no. I got it, guys. I got it. The next movie, it should
It's
be
all
called
good.
like B10 or something. Just steal
The
Fast
next
and Furious.
movie,
How about-
the
wait.
next movie is going to be
It's
called
BB4.
Bad Boys,
It's BB4.
The Horsemen.
No.
Or
it's BB, like
the next
BB8,
movie-
It's BB4.
The next movie could just do what Fast and Furious did and just go Bad Boys.
But that was the name of the
Because
first
Fast and
movie.
Furious did that.
No,
Yeah.
that's the
yeah,
name
but
of the first movie was Bad Boys.
Isn't
Fast and
there,
Furious
like,
the name of the
did Fast
first-
and
Also-
Furious. They took Vault away.
I mean, the thing's been the thing 3 different times.
Right. So they
That is
could
true.
just. So 5 can be the Bad Boys, and then we're fine. It's all good.
Technically, one of those things was a remake, not a sequel. So,
But anyway,
oh yeah, Malcolm has a show to host.
but I mean, the other
God.
thing that did come out from these predictions is the other new movie that did open up last week, the River Section, did not make barely anything. Apparently,
Dude,
got
that
the
thing
right.
bombed.
What movie?
The
The
rhythm
rhythm-
section
the
with
rhythm-
Blake Lively. I think it made 2.6, didn't it, Malcolm? Or 2.5?
Something like that, and it had a budget of about 50 million or something like
Good
that.
lord, that's a huge
Jeez.
bomb. That's a
Um,
huge bomb.
On the
Okay.
opposite side of the scale, Gretel and Hansel's budget was only 5 million, and it's pretty much made its budget back.
Congrats!
Great, another movie that nobody asked for. My 5 million, yay, 6 million, yay.
But opening this week, we've got Birds of Prey, and we've also got a horror movie called The Lodge opening up as well. Ryan, what? I know what you feel about Birds of Prey, but what are your feelings about the movies opening up this week?
Did you want me to give my top 5 or?
Yeah, we'll segue that into the predictions as well. Why not?
Okay, so I guess I'll give my predictions for top 5 then. So The Lodge, I looked it up. I feel like I think this movie's been development heck for the last, or it's been on the shelf for a couple of years, and now they're just putting it out to just try to get some money back. I don't know. But Birds of Prey, the trailers haven't 1,000% sold me, but then again, I've been hearing some buzz about it. I'm still gonna go see it, see where it goes. But as far as the top 5, obviously it's gonna be at number 1. I have Bad Boys For Life, even though bad titles, guys. That's going to come in at number 2. I have 1917 coming in at number 3, and then Gretel and Hansel, whatever the heck that is, coming in at 4, and then Jumanji: The Next Level I have coming in at number 5. I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. I think Birds of Prey is going to open with 50 million this weekend, but then again, I could be wrong. We'll see.
But Kristen, what are your feelings about the movies opening up this week, and what do you think the box office will be this time next week?
Yeah, The Lodge is one of those movies that they just are like pushing out there. There's not a lot of hype for it. There's not a lot of marketing for it. So no one will probably watch it, which is probably good because it'll go on a streaming service at some point and people will be like, oh, I wonder what this is. And then they'll watch it and then they'll say, oh, this is really bad. Like The Forest when that came out a couple years ago.
Yikes.
All right. So yeah, Birds of Prey sounds great. We're watching it tomorrow. I can't wait. It's got
nice.
incredible hype. So I actually think it's going to open at 52 because the hype has been so good for it. There's very few negative things being said about this movie. So I've got Birds of Prey, Bad Boys 3, Life, 1917. I'm going to throw Jumanji at 4 because I think it has more staying power than awful Hansel and Gretel and awful Doolittle. And then I think Gentlemen will make more money than Doolittle and Hansel and Gretel combined. I just think that everyone who is going to see those movies has seen them and they're just going to go like.
Doug, what are your feelings about the movies opening up this week, and what do you think the box office will be?
I get a cough as soon as you ask me. Excuse me.
Mega legislature.
I'm dying. That's great radio.
Taste that game, buddy.
We've all died. So Birds of Prey coming out this weekend. I'm super excited for it. I think it'll take one. I actually think it might pull in 70.
Oh,
because it's getting a little bit more hype than what it was originally.
Okay.
I've only heard one review from it. The rest have been pretty positive. Bad Boys for Life will take 2. 1970 will stay on right where it's at. I think Jumanji will take 4. And then I actually think The Lodge, from what I've heard, it's actually a really good horror movie. It might be like Lights Out, where it might stun some people. And I think that might take actually the 4th spot. Yeah, right? And
You
then
said Jumanji at 4.
Jumanji at 4. Yeah. Okay, so the 5th spot would be The Lodge.
Wow. Interesting.
Matt, what are your feelings about the movies opening up this week, and what do you think the top 5 box office will be?
Look, I think that there's one movie opening this weekend that could possibly be a game changer for the genre it's in. People are kind of talking about it, not really talking about it. And the other one is Birds of Prey. Come on, I just quit that out. No, Birds of Prey. I'm somewhat tentatively interested in it.
Yeah.
It has an all-female cast, so right there, I'm out the door. Don't want anything to do with that. If Ewan McGregor was the star of it, maybe, come on, guys. That's just a rollover joke from Class Action if you watch my podcast, because I hate The Last Jedi because Rey was the main character. Right, Internet? That's what you tell me. No, Birds of Prey. I honestly missed all the marketing for this, and I think that's just me.
You're lucky.
It's my own fault. I still want to see it, of course, because it's DC,
It's
and I actually liked Suicide Squad, or at least I liked Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that it's R-rated, and also Ewan McGregor's in it. So how can you not love Ewan McGregor? He's got a mullet like in Attack of the Clones. So right there, I'm sold. But my top 5. So number 1, I got Birds of Prey. I think it's gonna make about around what Chris was saying, about 51, 52 million. I could see it making.
Okay.
Number 2, I have Bad Boys for Life. Number 3, I have 1917. I feel like 1917 could change depending on what happens at the Oscars on Sunday. If it wins a ton of awards, then next week it could shoot up because everyone might be like, oh, we should probably see this. Number 4, I have Doolittle holding number 4 because I think like all the parents who have taken their kids to see Jumanji, they've seen it already. They might not have seen Doolittle. I'm still holding on to that stupidity thing of like we live in like 2001 and like iPods and Netflix doesn't exist, so like parents have to take their kids to the movies to entertain them. And then at number 5, no one's talking about this in their top 5. I think it's stupid. I'm not even sure if this movie is in theaters, but Street Fighter the movie I think is going to be number 5 at the box office. It's one of Van Damme's best work. Colonel Guile, it's the greatest video game movie that ever existed. Hey, Bison, I know you like to look at yourself on TV. You like to look at this.
What?
What?
Yeah.
What? I
think
like
Street
Street
Fighter
Fighter as a
movie
90s
is gonna
kid,
be
but
number
dude, if you're
5.
gonna give Oscars to video game movies, you give it to Mortal Kombat like Mark Ellis says.
I-
You don't give it to Street Fighter.
No,
Or give it to an actual good video game movie, which
Yeah,
is
Mortal
Detective
Kombat.
The
Pikachu.
Street
Oh,
Fighter,
Mortal
the
Kombat,
movie.
dude.
All you
The
Mortal
most
Kombat
recent
people,
Tomb Raider.
y'all just followers. Y'all
The
just
most recent Tomb
followers.
Raider? That was
Yeah.
okay,
Look,
but not
Detective
nearly as good as the
Pikachu.
original with
Citizen
Joe
Kane
Lee.
didn't win the Oscar.
I liked it.
It was
Okay,
good, but
and
not
we
as
all
good as the
hail it as
original.
the greatest. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So that's my top 5. And
Dude,
Malcolm, I will continue.
I
to
like
not
Street
take this
Fighter a
seriously
lot.
every
but Mortal Kombat
BT
movie is better.
Dubs, I stole my top 4 from Perry Nemiroff because this week I made sure to check out her video before we went live.
um,
Wow, somebody who champions Street Fighter is the best VG game of all, or best VG movie of all time. That's gutsy.
but anyway,
Look at what I'm wearing, Rasika. Do you think I wouldn't choose Street Fighter?
I haven't seen that movie yet, so I can't comment or speculate on Bloodsport.
Like your life, you haven't seen Bloodsport.
I haven't. Okay, I'm behind on my '80s films. Give me a
but
break.
anyway,
Anyway, Malcolm, host your show. Go ahead.
but anyway, both Lodge and Birds of Prey sound interesting to me. Birds of Prey is the one I'm really going to try and see
Yeah.
out at the first out. But for my box office, I think Doolittle is going to be hanging in there at 5. I'm kind of with everyone else. I think Jumanji's going to fall off, and I think Doolittle might make sort of half of what it did this week. But I think Gretel Hansel is going to hold on to 4th. I think we're going to have 1917 at 3. Bad Boys at 2 and Birds of Prey at 1. And I actually think it's going to be high. I think I'm actually going with 80 million myself, but it's definitely one of those ones which is all over the place. Because I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Birds of Prey is R-rated, so it's so it's going to be interesting. But moving on, so obviously with the Super Bowl this week, we got a buttload of trailers.
A veritable buttload.
Yeah. So for trailers, we've got a new one for Top Gun Maverick. We've got the final trailer for Mulan. The Invisible Man had a trailer. There was I want to call it a trailer, but it was more various athletes talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. We got the Sponge on the One trailer. We've got A Quiet Place Part 2 got a trailer. There was a Fast and Furious F9, Fast and Furious 9, whatever they want to call it, trailer. Black Widow got a trailer. No Time to Die got a first trailer. There was a new trailer for Minions Rise of Gru. We got a trailer for the Marvel Studios Disney Plus shows. Got a trailer for The Way Back. We got a trailer for Radioactive, which is a Marie Curie biopic. We got the first trailer for Spiral from a Book of Saw movie. And we got a trailer for a movie called Resistance, which is about Marcel Marceau. But Matt, I'll start with you. What trailers did you really like? What movies did you go to see that you may not have been interested in seeing?
I didn't do this correctly because I only prepped to talk about the trailers that I cared about. So maybe but it's Top Gun Maverick, guys. Okay, now look, it's Top Gun Maverick. I know it was only 30 seconds, but look, it was probably the greatest 30 seconds ever. I assume it's what 30 seconds of sex feels like, was the Top Gun Maverick Super Bowl trailer, okay? It was amazing. And I bet you it's Tom Cruise. You guys know what I'm talking about. We all saw Top Gun. You all saw that tongue action. We know 30 seconds was amazing, probably. This trailer was amazing. It's a perfect sequel trailer to the first trailer that came out. And the line in this that is awesome is from Goose's son, played by
Miles.
Miles Teller, where he says, "My dad trusted you. I won't make the same mistake." I'm so happy that they don't have Goose's son like Maverick, because he thinks that Maverick is the reason why his father's dead. And I can't wait to see that story play out. This trailer looks awesome. I can't wait to see this movie. The other trailers that I saw, they were like, the F9 trailer was pretty much just like a condensed version of the trailer that just came out. It kind of, I get why they did it, because it's the Super Bowl and you got to market stuff, but it seemed extremely pointless.
6 minutes.
Another trailer that came out this week was the second trailer for The Way Back, which I can't wait for this movie. If you guys have been following Take 3 for a very long time, you'll know I'm a huge Ben Affleck fan. And guys, we live in a year where we're getting a new Harrison Ford movie and a new Ben Affleck movie. So I'm right there for it. And I tweeted this when the trailer dropped with this line, because I just love this line. It's the line the trailer ends on. We can't change the past. What we can do is choose how we move forward. If the movie is half as good as these trailers have been, this is like gonna be my favorite movie of the year. So yeah, I'm really excited for The Way Back. It looks like this generation's Hoosiers, which you guys all know how much I love Hoosiers.
But yeah, Ryan, what trailers caught your attention and what did you like?
The trailers that I watched and was a bit curious about, whether they be Super Bowl or otherwise, was a Spiral from the Book of Saw. I'm like, this franchise has made 70,000 movie sequels to this. I don't know why. I don't get it. I saw the first one. That was enough. I had nightmares for 2 weeks. Thanks a lot, James Wan. But I watched this trailer and I see the end of it, and they pay tribute to the original scene with Carrie Elwes about to cut his leg off in the first one. It's like, dude, you're basically just remaking the first one. So I don't know why you did. That's kind of a waste of space. The TV spot they did for Super Bowl for No Time to Die. If anyone knows me for any bit of time, you would know James Bond is awesome. And I love James Bond, the franchise. Big Pierce Brosnan fan, big Daniel Craig fan. Like Sean Connery, like Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore, I don't care. George Lazenby, you were fine for 2 minutes. But No Time to Die looks freaking fantastic. Can't wait to see it. We've had to wait 5 freaking years for another Bond film, and it eats away at me every single day that I have to wait till April to see this, but it'll be worth the wait, folks. It will. That was cool. The Marvel Disney Plus for the new Marvel series, even though it was a quick teaser, I thought that was kind of cool, even though I don't really care for WandaVision, but the Falcon Winter Soldier looks good. Some of the other stuff looks good. And then the Fast 9, I didn't see the Super Bowl trailer. I saw the 4-minute, aka the entire movie given away trailer. And I'm like, this is so dumb that they went off the rails for me in Furious 7, despite the good tribute to Paul Walker. We miss you, brother. But Fast 9, horrible marketing. Whoever put this trailer together or the TV spots, you need to be fired, because you gave away the entire movie, and Han being alive makes no sense whatsoever. He died for a reason. It was in Tokyo Drift, one of the better films of that franchise, by the way. And yet he's back. What is he, a ghost or something? I don't know. So Fast 9, pretty stupid, but those are the trailers that I watched and was a bit curious about. And I'm just excited to see a new Bond movie, and I'm with Matt on this. I can't wait to see Top Gun Maverick. It's my #1 most anticipated film of the year. Top Gun Maverick looks freaking-tastic. And by the way, as long as we hear Highway to the Danger Zone from my good friend Kenny Loggins, I will be good. If we don't hear that in the movie, Matt and I are going to form a protest, and there will be words with the executives at Paramount. That's all I got to say about that. Malcolm, back to you at the desk.
I don't remember agreeing to that, but I am a follower, not a leader, so I guess I'll go along with it.
Yeah, do it, man.
All right.
If we don't hear Danger Zone, there's gonna be riots in the streets, guaranteed.
I mean, personally, I don't know if we need to hear Danger Zone. They'll probably pay a tribute to that in the movie, but they may get a band to compose an all-new song for it so that they've got a chance for Best Original Song for the Oscars. So
Playing with the boys during the football scene that's in the first trailer better
or football,
be there.
yeah, but football, yeah. That, and we also need to hear Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick. We need to hear that too.
But anyway, Kristen, what trailers caught your attention? And
not Top Gun Maverick.
I'm still kind of just I'm
She's
still a little
watching the
thrown.
trailers.
I'm still a little thrown by anyone saying Tokyo Drift is one of the better Fast and Furious movies.
It is.
They're good
It's
ones.
because it's about
It is
street
not.
racing and not about stealing
Ooh.
movies or DVD players.
It's not.
It's about drifting, not
it's-
racing, really.
It's not
Well,
about family. I'm going to tell you that right now.
It's about racing, Doug.
So let's talk about
Ryan, it's me.
lots of trailers.
The
Oh,
movies,
God.
they're about family. Tokyo Drift was about race car family, but not real family.
I deserve this.
F9. F9 was real family.
We all deserve
She's-
this.
She's family, so let her talk. Okay.
How about
Bye,
your new
guys.
brother that we didn't know about an entire franchise
Look,
about?
Yeah,
look,
John Cena's your
look.
brother.
Hey, guys, look. Sometimes, you know.
can't see me. What are you
you
playing,
lose-
peekaboo?
you
Of course
lose
we can
it.
see it.
Guys, time out. Let me talk. Sometimes,
Yeah, let Vin Diesel talk.
look, guys,
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, you lose phone numbers, people move, your letters get returned, your brother doesn't talk to you. That's what happened here. But he's back. And you know what? We're family. He grew hair. He didn't have hair. He's got it. I don't got it. But we're family. And I'm happy to have my brother in the movie.
Okay, Vin
Thanks,
Diesel. It's nice
Vin.
talking.
Remember to shut the. No, all right. He just broke through the wall and didn't use the door again. Dick.
Okay, so trailers. So I watched the well, I watched a bunch of them before we started filming, but the only two that I actually watched prior to that were Spiral, which I think looks really good. It looks a whole lot better than the last Saw movie that was made, which had so much potential, and then it just flushed all of it down the toilet. It's got some callbacks to the first one. I really think that this movie could have had a really great marketing opportunity, the same way that the last Blair Witch went into Comic-Con without anyone knowing it was around or anything.
Mhm.
All the marketing was for a completely different movie, and they walk out and it's all Blair Witch. I think they could have done something like that for this movie. I think if no one knew it was a Saw movie before the music started playing, they could have literally just made this into any movie. You walk into the movie to watch it, you're halfway through, and all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, this is a Saw movie. And I just, that was so cool. But it's a cool trailer. I think it looks like it's bringing the movie back to where it's a little bit less outlandish in terms of the violence, which for most people, that's what the Saw movies are about. But we'll see. I think it looks great. I'm really interested in it. The Disney Plus stuff, I think the WandaVision stuff looks awesome. I can't wait. I thought the name WandaVision was awful, but then after seeing the little teaser we got, I'm like, oh, it's just like television. It's WandaVision. I get it. It's not a bad title. It's a really good title. I spent like months making fun of it, and now I feel bad because it was a good title all along. I love that they're taking like bits and pieces of different sitcoms and like incorporating it into like whatever kind of dream world she's implanted herself into. And it also looks like it's going to adapt part of Wanda and Vision's like storylines in the comics really well, which is something I'm excited about. Because they have some really good storylines in there. I'm just interested to see like where this kind of takes place within the universe and how it meshes in, and like, is Vision just a vision, or is he like actually still around, or what's going on? I'm interested in it. Okay, That Resistance trailer, Jesse Eisenberg's accent is awful. So awful. Don't let him do accents. Awful, awful, really bad. It looked like an interesting movie, and then he started talking, and I was like, no, I won't watch this now. It's a really bad accent. What else? Mulan still looks good. Quiet Place 2, all the Cillian Murphy. That's all. That's just more of that. And Black Widow, marketing is solid all around. I don't need more trailers. We don't need
Can we
more.
stop?
It's great. It's
Yeah, I
great
think the
for
first
that.
trailer was enough, honestly.
The first trailer gave
was-
away like half the movie. so
All
that
of
was
it
enough.
has been good so far. I don't need more. No Time to Die. It looks great. It looks like they're going to tie up all the storylines from Craig's run as Bond, and I think that's everything we really need. I hope that it becomes like a companion piece to Spectre in a way that like Casino Royale is a companion piece to Quantum of Solace, where if you watch them back to back, the movies are really good together. Like if you isolate them, they're not awesome. But if you watch them as a piece, they work really well. I hope that's what happens with this movie and Spectre. Watching them together elevates Spectre to be better, because it's a fine movie, but it's just not amazing like Skyfall was.
It'd be so
Yeah, it was
interesting.
disappointing.
It'd be so interesting because then Skyfall would be like the odd man out, to where it's just like its own standalone thing. Like it
But-
has no
but-
connection to the
It
other.
kind of is.
I'm absolutely fine with that, because it was more about demystifying James Bond as the character,
Yeah,
and so you have like bookends
100%,
of
yeah.
Skyfall. So like Casino Royale and Quantum are about like the building
that's how
of this
it's
James Bond.
Casino Royale and
middle-
Quantum of Solace are how he becomes James
Right.
Bond.
And then the middle
Skyfall is
is
him,
demystifying, and then
Yeah.
this is like the
the end of the journey.
remystifying.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know,
Be all
because
end all.
it's like bringing in all these other villains and stuff and making it a little more outlandish again, with the car with the machine gun in the front and like all these old school James Bond things. So
So
it's you've
good.
got the raw, real character in the first two. You've got the demystification of the character in the third one, and then the last two are kind of bringing it back into these outlandish stories with weird villains and kooky characters.
It's
And
paying
it's kind
homage
of like
to the
a really
Connery era.
interesting.
Yeah.
Kind
They
of.
do what I hope they're doing with it. It's a really interesting like bookend to Skyfall in just how they're making these movies.
Yeah.
So I hope it goes the way I think it's gonna go. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And for Pat, we have to
and-
say Anna de Artemis is in the movie. That's for Pat Campbell, our good buddy. I'm sure he didn't know that. She is.
But and Doug, what are your feelings on the trailers?
Yeah, there's a couple that you missed. The Most Dangerous Game. It's one of my favorite books, and they are remaking the movie. I'm super excited for it. It's kind of like you have 24 hours and you get $1 million per hour that you survive, and you got a bunch of people chasing after you to kill you. The Jesus Roll. I'm super excited for you. It's the unofficial sequel to The Big Lebowski, with Jesus coming back. And he's not. I think they're kind of trying to rewrite some of his stuff. Last one that I'm going to talk about is Enter the Fat Dragon. This is a Donnie Yen movie, and it looks fantastic. Donnie Yen is in a fat suit and just kicking ass.
Old. No trailer required.
No, go watch the trailer. The trailer's great.
It's a fair point.
Does he
I'm
do the
literally trying
bottle
to
cap challenge in the fat suit?
Just listen, go watch the trailer. It's crazy. I think the most thing I'm excited for is Spiral. I've been excited for this since hearing Chris Rock was taking on this role, and like producing it and gonna add his own edge. I think it's a copycat. I think it's a person that's literally just copycatting Jigsaw.
Oh yeah, it's or it's Carrie Elways is
The surgeon.
continuation, because he's
Yeah.
still alive, you know.
I'm hoping that they kind of
But
off-world it or
spoilers.
something like that, or like they kind of like X-nay that, like he's not actually like they retcons some stuff would be great. Black Widow's fine. Stop showing me stuff from the movie. I want to just watch the movie. I'm right along with Kristen. WandaVision, I was not knowing what to expect from this. I I have a feeling that she very much goes into her own world and understands fully how she can change reality. And I think that's how we're going to bring in the X-Men, because Kevin Feige has said that the TV shows are going to be very relevant to the movies, and the movies are going to be very relevant to the TV shows. I think we're going to get a House of M series kind of thing, where we get Wanda and Vision's children instead of Quicksilver and Wanda. It's wonky. Read the series if you want to know about it.
Can I just because with WandaVision, you just brought up Quicksilver. I was having this conversation the other day with a coworker. Do you guys think, and I know we probably would have heard something about this, but because it seems like Wanda's creating this own kind of world with Vision and everything, do you think it's possible, particularly if they're doing this like Dick Van type show, that we could see Quicksilver pop up as like, oh, my brother's come over to visit, and he's a wacky character? Do you think we could see a cameo from him at all?
I mean, I think there's a chance. There is always a chance for a cameo of
well, just because if I think the show is her still wanting to be with Vision even after his passage, so she's creating this whole world. So it's like, if she's doing that, why not bring her brother back from the dead
she's
in
grieving.
this world?
Yeah.
You know, that's
Listen,
just
it's
how I look
possible.
at it.
It's very possible, because how long did they keep Baby Yoda from us? Until episode 1. So it's very possible that Disney is sniping some people out.
And also, you look at
Matt,
like
watch
Ezra
out! There's
Miller.
a red dot in your shirt.
Oh, really? Wait, what? Oh, you were making a joke. I'm sorry. I thought I was doing something wrong.
You're good.
Dog.
You're good.
That was the equivalent of, hey, look, there's something on your shirt, and then flicking him on the nose.
Yep.
The last trailer that I want to talk about is it's actually called Finding the Way Back. They changed the name of the film. I'm really excited about this. I think this is Ben Affleck dealing with a lot of his personal issues. Yeah, on
They really changed the title?
I don't think they've changed it. I think it's known by both, depending on which. Because I think
let's not pull a Live Die Repeat title.
Yeah, let's not do that. No, let me just. I'm honestly.
I've seen it a bunch of ways. I've seen it a bunch of ways. I've seen it Finding the Way Back and The Way Back, but I think
we'll just.
No, the reason I said what I said is different countries might have a different title, because Neighbours is known as Bad Neighbours in New Zealand, because they didn't want us to confuse it with the Australian TV show called Neighbours.
And you know where I first learned that, guys? The Movie Fandom Show episode of Neighbours that Malcolm was on, that you guys can check out on this channel right here.
Good history
lesson.
lesson.
Plug it away.
But I'm very much excited for this movie. It's definite Oscar bait, but it looks like it might be good Oscar bait.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's got 2 of them. He doesn't need to bait those Oscars.
But yeah, a lot of these trailers were just ones that they made for the Super Bowl. Like, as I said with Sonic the Hedgehog one, like that was basically them doing a whole bunch of random athletes talking about speed and thing that you see Sonic sort of in this scene. Like, and
a bunch of athletes talking about speed. Sure, they want to admit that on camera.
But anyway, I mean, like for me, one of the ones that sort of stuck to my mind for a bad reason is the Minions Rise of Gru. Why do we need another Minions movie, and why do we need to see how they end up with Gru?
The parents need to drop their kids off at a movie, Malcolm.
As the villain in the Tom and Jerry movie said, we've got to have money. That's what.
And my 7-year-old nephew is a diehard Minions fan, so he will be all over this movie like crazy. So trust me, he'll be there. He'll probably see it like 2 or 3 times.
Or you could be a really good uncle and not let him see the movie.
I could, and force him to see a much better film later down the
Toy
line
Story,
in theaters. That's
Disney
a good idea.
It's streaming. All the Toy Stories are on there.
Yeah, let him watch
Disney Plus for an hour.
Yeah, just let him watch like Birds of Prey or something.
The Mandalorian.
Or Song of the South. Is that put on yet, guys?
No, I'm gonna have him watch The Mandalorian so you can learn about Baby Yoda. But yeah,
or just get the DC universe and let him watch the Harley Quinn animated series, because that's phenomenal.
Yeah, very appropriate.
Yeah, that's good for my 7-year-old, Doug. Thanks.
Yeah, man, he learns about sharks and them getting drunk with blood.
giant sharks. I want sharks with freaking laser beams
I like how
attached to
Doug
their. Oh,
starts
sorry,
with,
wrong
like,
movie,
something
wrong
a
studio,
7-year-old
wrong
could watch,
franchise.
and
I'm
then it
sorry.
just goes down. It's like, nope.
But anyway, like
Anyway,
the Marvel Studios one, just excited me more just because I was already excited for them anyway. I actually did like the Resistance trailer. I think that does look interesting. I mean, I agree with Kristen. Jesse Eisenberg's
So
French accent is terrible.
it's so bad.
But in saying that, if he only speaks a lot,
If you always
what I was
speak-
about, what I was
If
about
he
to
just
say-
doesn't speak very often, maybe I'll like the
If he
movie.
has
Well,
two
what-
sentences in the film,
yes, 3 lines in the movie.
Guys,
will
let
be
Malcolm
fine.
talk.
what I was about to say is depending on how much he speaks, because Marcel Marceau is a mime, so a lot of times we're going to see him as him doing his mime stuff, maybe. So I don't know how much he's actually going to be physically talking in the movie. That's what I was trying to say. This looks like it's one of those ones that is built for people to look at for Oscars next year, along with Radioactive, which is about Marie Curie, which Rosamund Pike's accent is much better, and she's Polish, I think Marie Curie was, but Radioactive looks pretty good as well. So both those ones look interesting, and they look like they're definitely ones that are going to be releasing around the back half of the year.
The Resistance is releasing in March, which it's an Oscar bait movie releasing in March.
I
You
mean,
know how well both work.
in saying that, it's not impossible. Get Out was March, so and I enjoyed these. I actually also enjoyed the Spiral trailer. I think it looks really good. I do disagree with one when he said that it's probably going to be a remake of the first one, just for the reason is in most of the Saw movies they always find a way back to that bathroom from the first movie. So that's more of, I think, where they'll go with that is he's going to end up back in that bathroom for a reason because he gets. But the fact we've got Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, two people who I never thought would ever see in a Saw movie, is enough to excite me for this movie. But
Now, Chris Rock is playing I didn't watch the show because horror. No, thank you. Is Chris Rock a cop in this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So is it possible that he's playing Sergeant Butters, and this Saw movie is actually not a Saw movie? It's actually Lethal Weapon 5.
No.
listen, I want a Lethal Weapon 5, so
but talking about
Lethal Weapon.
talking about movie news, because that was one of our last week's ones that I put in them. This week's movie news, that sort of thing. We've got Harry Melling from Harry Potter is joining the cast of Joel Cohen's version of Macbeth. Harry Cerny and Vanessa Kirby are both returning for Mission Impossible 7 and 8. Kathleen Kennedy confirms that Indiana 5 is going to be a continuation of a reboot. I do not know why it was needed to be said. Apparently, Disney is releasing the recorded film of Hamilton next year. We've got a couple of release date confirmations for Mandalorian Season 2, which is coming in October this year, and WandaVision is due to drop in December this year. In an interview, Vin Diesel has hinted that the next Fast and the Furious movie, Fast and the Furious 10, is going to be a 2-part conclusion to the series. Sam Raimi is in talks to direct Doctor Strange 2. Bruno Mars is going to star in a music-themed movie for Disney. Ryan and Andy Toho are apparently directing Texas Chainsaw Reboot. Knives Out 2 has been given the green light, so it's happening. Tom Hardy is going to be playing Ernest Shackleton in a biopic. Jennifer Tilly is returning for the Chucky TV series. And Maggie Gyllenhaal is going to be playing Elvis's mum in the Baz Luhrmann biopic he's making about Elvis. Doug, what are your feelings to some of these movie news? Like, you don't have to talk about everyone, but whatever you hear about.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for Knives Out too. Give me more of Daniel Craig in that
No spoilers.
Southern
The first one.
Kentucky Fried accent.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I have.
Don't spoil it then.
I'm actually in the boat that I'm not excited about Sam Raimi taking Doctor Strange. What? To say something? I think, in all honesty, him with a big time studio isn't the type of work that he needs to do. I felt that as soon as I heard the news, because the last time that he dealt with a studio, we didn't get Spider-Man 4. He ruined Spider-Man 3.
The studio.
No. Okay, first of all, you can't blame the studio when you're the director. And
You can blame the
studio for studio interaction.
No way. This is a bad take. I will accept that you don't like it, but that is a bad take. The studio forced him to put Venom in the movie. He did not want Venom in the movie, so he said, you know what? I'm going to make a batshit crazy movie that people are going to have really mixed feelings on because you don't care about what I produce, so why should I care about what I produce? It was...
So can I explain my point?
No, because it's a bad take, Douglas!
It's not a bad take. Here's the thing. You could have literally put in... he didn't want to put in the work. You could have put in something that was really... You go from Spider-Man 2, which had two villains. And it worked. It worked. You go to Spider-Man 3, they wanted him to add Venom because if he wasn't going to take over 4, they were trying to do the Sinister Six. They've been trying to do the Sinister Six since Spider-Man's been around. You could have made a compelling Venom that would have worked. You didn't cast anybody that looked like Eddie Brock. You didn't cast... You made this symbiotic thing that wasn't convention, wasn't cool. Even living up to Sam Raimi's goofiness of monster creation.
It was forced into his movie that he wanted. You take Venom out of the movie, you ignore that whole thing. Oh, who the fuck cares?
The studio pays you.
They paid him to make his vision of the movies, though. And his visions of the movies did not include that character. And you take that character out of the movie, and the characters are fine. Everything about the movie, when you take Venom out of it, is actually quite good. That's my whole thing. Is they shoehorned this character into this movie, and then
I think okay. So we're gonna
but that was because of the symbiote. That was because of Venom. You take fucking Venom out of the movie, we don't get it's pizza time. We don't get all the stupid. We don't get. He
Hobgoblin was.
They would have had more time to develop the characters. They would have had more time to develop the characters that they already had instead of developing Venom that he didn't want in his movie. It's just.
Put that cookie down.
What the heck was that?
That is a pet peeve.
So his all right. You had him do Oz the Great and Powerful, which was
objectively a bad movie.
That's not objectively. That's a terrible movie.
It's objectively a bad movie.
Drag Me to Hell was his last decent movie. Like up his alley. Drag Me to Hell was great. But you don't have him really directing anything after that.
Marco, can you even the title of this episode? Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Sam Raimi through the MCU.
Ouch, Matt.
So
that's
I'm already on my way.
Last point I'm gonna make on this. All right, last point I'm gonna make on this. If you wanted a director and you were gonna get Sam Raimi from the 80s or Sam Raimi from the 90s, I'd be okay with it because that's the Stephen Strange that you're looking for. But you're not getting that. You're getting Oz the Great and Powerful Raimi. That's the last thing. That's the last thing he did. That was 2013. If people wanted him on the projects, they would have gave him more projects.
But he's not been focusing on directing. He's been focusing on producing. It's not that like he's not getting the projects. He's the kind of director that directs passion projects, things that he really, really wants to put out there, which is why he delivered all the Spider-Man movies. And he really wanted to deliver the Spider-Man 3 that he wanted to deliver. Like, he doesn't just like make movies to make movies. Are you going to say that people who make like one movie every 5 years as an actor aren't fantastic because they only make one every 5 years?
No, but it's always, what have you done for me last? If
It was
your
fine.
skill has stayed on the same level, then it's fine.
That's not a great, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't quite understand that argument, because there's plenty of other people out there who people are like, oh, I'm excited to see his take, but what did they do last? Like, we're looking at like James Cameron's Avatar. His movies have been fantastic, but everyone is shitting on this next Avatar movie because
it's taking too long.
Sure, but who cares? All of his movies are pretty much solid, but no one cares because the fact that there's Avatar 2 coming out next is hilarious. You know, like the arguments don't always align with this.
I know, but I'm just saying, for the majority of his 2000s career, majority of his 2010s career, it's been nothing but bombs. You know, starting with Spider-Man 3, 07. I'm sorry, you can say Venom ruined that movie, but Harry Osborn was a lackluster character in that movie. The only one that was really great in that movie was Marco Fleck.
Right, and he was supposed to have a bigger role, and they were supposed to flesh out Harry's role more. That's my thing, is you can't blame him for the story he wanted to tell. The story he wanted to tell would have been better. It would have fleshed out Harry's role more, and it would have focused more on Marcus' character, because that character was fantastic. The fact that Sony wanted to sell more action figures ruined that movie. It's just, that's legitimate the reason they wanted Venom in there.
Scott Derrickson. I'm just mad.
Derrickson literally came out and said, if anyone's going to direct it, I'm glad it's Raimi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you bomb.
He said, I've worked with Sam Raimi before. I think he's a great guy. I'm excited to see his vision for Doctor Strange. And The Day the Earth Stood Still was not that great. And that was Derrickson. What has he done for me lately?
Doctor Strange.
Besides one movie.
Lights Out.
It was fine.
But anyway,
great horror movie.
But anyway, fun fact about Sam Raimi that I just found out just before: he voiced the giant squirrel in the Jungle Book movie.
Yeah, see, he voiced the giant squirrel in the Jungle Book.
Oh, nice.
Acting does not transfer.
Are there squirrels in Africa?
I agree with Rasika in the chat. He said the last thing Raimi directed was Ash versus the Evil Dead, which was awesome.
That episode was not the greatest.
Oh, it was great.
It was not great.
But Kristen, what anything in the movies that
everyone knows my opinions. I'm very excited about Sam Raimi's take because I think he's kind of the perfect director to direct.
That was David F. Sandberg.
Oh, that's right. Shazam.
Yeah. I think he's the perfect director to make this kind of movie, because when you look at the character of Doctor Strange, and it's this kind of like off the beaten path, oddball type superhero who has all these horror elements in the comics, and it's a little campy, it's a little kooky. What does Sam Raimi make good movies about? These weird, off the wall, kooky, horror-ish movies. It's like typecast. It's right up his alley to make. With the way that the MCU operates, they give the directors enough freedom, and then they come in and say, okay, what can we do to help you? When was the last time MCU had a really bad movie? How many chances have they taken on directors? When it was announced Taika Waititi was going to make Thor Ragnarok, how many people were jumping out of their seats? No one knew who Taika Waititi was before Thor Ragnarok.
What's his name?
I did.
I didn't know who he was.
Sure.
I had no
In
idea who he
our
was.
community, sure. Maybe Malcolm, for sure. But like outside of the movie community, hardly anyone had seen his stuff. Now everyone knows who he is because they took a chance on him. And he made Thor 1 and 2 disappear because Thor Ragnarok was fantastic. Like that's the thing.
Is it though?
It is. It's my number 1 Marvel movie. But
Wow.
like it, like they know how to take a director, get their vision in there, work with the vision, but also make sure they're working within the parameters of the MCU. Like there are not very many times where directors walk away from the MCU being really mad. There's also not very many MCU movies that are really bad. It's just a good track record. And if they think they can get Raimi to make a good movie, I trust them. If you look at his track record, it fits. I'm excited about it. I hope that they let him make the movie that he wants to make. The weird horror Doctor Strange movie that the first one should have been. It just needs to happen. It needs to happen.
But yeah, and I mean, let's not forget when the Russo brothers was brought on the first. Everyone was like, "Those people from Community."
Yeah.
And now look, now we can talk about the MCU as like, oh, what are the Russo brothers going to do next? So there's definitely that. But Kristen, aside from Sam Raimi, is there anything else?
There's no other movie news that is in my brain. That's the only movie news. As soon as that was announced, every other piece of movie news went out. There's something else that I was excited about, but not anymore.
But Ryan, anything that stands out of the movie news?
Wow, so many hot takes and debates in this room. You listed like 50,000 things, Malcolm, so I'm trying to remember because that debate was so heated. What was it? Maggie Gyllenhaal playing?
Sorry, Doug.
Was it playing Elvis's mother? I think you said in the Baz Luhrmann Elvis biopic. Okay, that's cool. Looking forward. I'm curious to see how that's going to go because Baz Luhrmann liked what you did with what is it? Great Gatsby. I think you directed another film after that. I don't know. I'm not sure, but curious about that. Sam Raimi potentially taking over for Doctor Strange 2. Curious to see where it goes, but then again, wasn't Doctor Strange like in 2016, the first one? Is it 2016 or is it 2016?
2016, yes.
God, that is such a long time to wait for a sequel. Like the hype for me has gone like 2016. It was all the way up here. Now it's kind of like,
Yeah,
right now.
but in saying that,
3-4 years. Star Wars movies used to take that long in between.
I know, but like Doctor Strange is like taking freaking forever. And now that Derrickson's out, which is unfortunate because I like what he did with the first one, and also I liked what he did with The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is one of my favorite horror/thriller movies ever. So it's like with him gone, it's like I really, really wonder what happened behind closed doors that made him leave. Very curious.
He
but
wanted to go more horror, and they didn't. They wanted to pull back to horror. That's why.
Well, that's stupid.
So they hired
That's
Sam
stupid.
Raimi.
My point.
well, I mean,
That's so stupid. He made the first one so good. Let the guy make his film, you idiots. My gosh.
I mean, it's one of those ones. I don't know because it came out that it was creative differences, so we don't really know sort of what they wanted. Because maybe he didn't like the fact that he's got to bounce off of what's happening in WandaVision. But from what I've heard, is the events of WandaVision is going to directly influence that Doctor Strange 2. So,
there's going to be a lot of studio interference with this one because it has to connect to so much stuff. And I don't know if interference is really the right word, but because it does have to connect to so many different things, whoever comes in to direct it is going to have to be able to work within all of that mess. So you have to work within, WandaVision being a thing and her very large role in this. And then the fact that they are opening up a multiverse, which potentially is where you're bringing in other Spider-Men or other types of characters from other Marvel franchises there's a lot to work with here, and you
Jeez.
think Derrickson was on board for the first one because he was on board for that character. How much of that same character is going to work within this movie is really the kind of the thing I think for me would be the issue.
I think it has a lot to do with Infinity War. Doctor Strange was almost a different character in Infinity War.
Well, yeah, because he had to fit the overall tone of the rest of the characters, and yeah, that is a huge issue with when they all come together.
Yeah, and I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was part of the reason why Edgar Wright had to depart was because the MC was a different place from when then his whole Ant-Man idea had to be changed because of the MCU put it into a different place because of the Avengers and all that. So just to make that comparison, I'm pretty sure that's why Edgar Wright.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I guess with that being said, that kind of just like takes my enthusiasm out the window. It's like I don't even care now because they're going to be too shoehorned. They're going to be too creatively chained. You can't do anything. You got to fit within the narrative that Kevin Feige and his team. Look, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I want to see these characters because they're the character. I don't want to see it just because you have to connect it to the next film. I want to see Doctor Strange as Doctor Strange doing his thing with his villains and his characters. But unfortunately, it sounds like we're not going to get that. As far as other stuff, like that's the reason why I'm more excited for what DC is doing rather than what Marvel is doing. Because to me, Endgame, to a certain extent, was the end. Like, if there was never another Marvel film ever made ever again after Endgame, I'd actually be okay with that because the way it all tied together with those last two, with Infinity War and Endgame, I'm cool with it. That's why I'm more excited for what DC is doing. Birds of Prey, I'm looking at you. Batman with our Pats, I'm looking at you, man. I'm looking at you, Matt Reeves. But other movie news? What did you say? Who was it who's coming back for Mission Impossible 8-9? Vanessa Kirby, and who was the other actress or actor?
I'll look at the name again because I can't remember. It's Henry Zerny, the original.
Henry from the first one.
Yeah, that one.
The guy who looks
minutes, I will talk about it.
Wait a minute. The guy who looks at Ethan and says, "I can understand you're very upset. You've never seen me very upset."
Yes.
That guy.
Yes.
Oh my God! What? Why? Why? Vanessa Kirby, the White Widow, I get to a certain extent, I guess. But Henry Zerny, dude, why? We don't need you. You were fine in the first one. You gave me one of the best lines. I can understand you're very upset. You've never seen me very upset. That's a great line. That's a great scene.
It's because it's tying into the new Mission Impossible TV series that they're airing, which actually you're going to want to watch before Mission Impossible 7 comes out. It's being called Ethan Vision. It's all being tied together.
yeah, I'm sure it is. But Zerny coming back, I have no idea why. It makes no sense. But then again, once I see the film, which I'm going to see anyway because I like Mission Impossible franchise for the most part, curious to see where that goes. Vanessa Kirby as White Widow. Okay, hey, you kicked tail in Fallout. I liked your Mysterioso vibes that you were giving off with the character. I dig it. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. But other than that, I can't remember the other 50,000 things you said, Malcolm. So I'm just going to go with those two. But yeah, DC, I'm more excited for you than what MCU is doing. I'm sorry, but we'll see what happens. Back to you at the desk.
Matt, aside from Sam Raimi, because we've probably talked about that to death now.
Ad nauseum.
Anything else you're really excited for?
I prepared for this. I had notes on quite a few stories, including Sam Raimi, and Malcolm decided to have me go last after Doug and Christian tried to murder each other via
seriously try to murder each other.
Ryan just was like, yo, these MCU shit, stop being connected universes. Why you going back into the Mission Impossible? Fuck it. Why am I here?
Yeah, Fallout was kind of an ending.
Sam Raimi, can I talk about it or can I not? I don't want to spark any fires. So
I won't say anything else.
I like Sam Raimi as a director. I think he's a really good director. I think it could be really interesting to see him handle a non-Spider-Man Marvel character. I actually quite like Spider-Man 3. And I think the problems I have with it aren't totally his fault because the studio stuff, and and he tried to make the best out of the situation he had. Yeah, so I'm interested to see his take on the character, and Bruce Campbell is going to be in the MCU, which is all we should care about at this point.
That's correct.
Yeah, he's
okay,
gonna play an
let's
usher
go
or
with
something again.
I'm much more excited about the fact that Kittredge is coming back to Mission Impossible. I'm personally one of the few who loves the first Mission Impossible film.
Oh, wow.
I rank it pretty high. So and kind of they've kind of ignored that movie just because I don't know, just because people think it's boring. But it's actually, out of all of them, it really is the most spy of all the movies. Like, it's the one that's dealing with the most like espionage and like spying around. So I'm really excited to see him coming back. Kind of in the same way that Kristen was talking about when we were talking about Daniel Craig and like Spectre, and what No Time to Die is the new one. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember. Is that the new Bond one?
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'm really hoping that that's kind of what we're getting with Kittredge coming back, is that Mission Impossible 8 is going to start to do the same thing with Ethan Hunt. Not in the same, like, saying they're copying, but just sort of this thing about, like, Ethan's getting older. And we kind of saw the beginnings of that in Fallout with everything with his ex-wife, kind of like just continuing, which that's my favorite Mission Impossible movie is Mission Impossible 3. Fallout's my second one. The reason why is because those are the ones so far to where he's a character. He's not Tom Cruise. And I want them to continue doing that and adding stuff like bringing Kittredge back. What is that going to do for Ethan? Because this was someone who was a confidant. This was someone he trusted who turned on him. What does that do for you? He had that happen in the first film with his mentor and then Kittredge. And so bringing him back, it just makes me really excited for the film. And Vanessa Kirby, I really enjoyed her character. I'm interested to see how she fits back into it. I'd be totally fine if she was even just in there as like a small cameo type thing, just one of those kind of just world building things to where you have these characters just sort of pop, kind of like Ethan's wife in Thor, where she's not in it a lot. She's in the one scene. It's just kind of like keeping the series all tied together. And I think that's pretty much my thoughts on movie news. I had more, but I don't want to waste too much. Rachel McAdams not being in Doctor Strange 2 kind of is sad to me because I really enjoyed her in the first Doctor Strange. I thought her and Cumberbatch had really good chemistry, and I thought that hopefully she's not removed entirely, and maybe in the third movie or in a future MCU film she could be brought back in some capacity, because I would like to see them sort of revisit that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to Natalie Portman, Rachel McAdams out of the MCU completely. Or Liv Tyler, Rachel McAdams out of the MCU completely. But I just think it's a case of they really, with what they want to do with Doctor Strange 2, I don't think they can fit her into this one, but I think we may see her later on.
Also, guys, they just released some plot details for Ethan Vision. So what the show is going to be is Ethan Hunt is in a coma after one of his battles, and he actually starts to imagine himself as characters in Tom Cruise movies.
So we're gonna give Vanilla Sky episode.
No. Well, and he's gonna be
sounds about right, actually.
He's gonna be like,
we should get a Days of Thunder episode.
He's gonna be like, wait a second,
Cocktails.
Russell, what are you doing here? You're an actor. I'm Ethan Hunt. And Kurt Russell's gonna be like, well, I'm Kurt Russell, and I'm awesome.
All the right moves.
Yeah. He'll be like,
yeah.
Okay, come out, Nicole Kidman. What are you doing? You're naked right now. I feel like we could be married, but it won't work out. Katie Holmes, what are you doing here? He'll end up on Oprah and be like, I don't know why, but I'm going to wrestle you right now. I want to fight you to the death. So I'm real excited, and it's actually going up on the new streaming service, Cruise Plus Universe. So I'm down. I'm down for this.
But yeah, my favorite Mission Impossible movie is the first one out of the two I've seen.
But this is 1 and 2.
Exactly.
but anyway, I'm interested to see what happens if Sam Raimi does take the lead to Doctor Strange. And I mean, I kind of do agree with one to a point that Endgame was the end to that segment of the MCU, but I think it's a case of Eternals is probably going to start something completely new for this next 20 or so film arc, and it's going to be something else. But anyway, yeah.
Hey, Sam Raimi, is it IE? Is that how you spell his name?
AIMI.
What?
Sam
alright.
RAIMI. Raimi.
But anyway,
Okay.
before we go into our main topic, based on the impromptu debate we had on late night, Matt, who gets your point and why?
Oh my god.
Oh, so I gotta lose this now. I gotta lose this now. I'm writing a you're all goodness.
I give my point to Doug
oi.
because he's a nice guy
Oi.
and he deserves to
everyone
not be
please
yelled at
tune
on
out?
streets.
Wait, hey, Tom out here. All right. Look, you guys all know who this is. It's me, Saul McHale. Obviously, I'm here. I'm here to judge debates. You know why? Because I've been debating for years. I sit right near Sharon. She's a bitch, I tell you. So I just got to debate all night. So let's see. Everyone, they debate about Sam Raimi. I don't care who Sam Raimi is. He's directed comic books. All you little children read comic books. But this is the thing. I'm going to go with Christian. This is my reason why I'm going with Christian. Okay, and it's this. Sam McHale's not sexist. It's not that reason whatsoever. Even though I hate The Last Jedi because they had a woman in charge of it. What the fuck is that about? But no, this is why I'm going with Christian. She fought with passion. She cares about Sam Raimi. If Sam Raimi appeared at home right now, she would smack that husband out of the way and be like, Sam Raimi, come with me. Now, Doug gave a lot of good points. He talked about universes. He talked about connectivity. He talked about Spider-Man 3 and studio and all this crap. And those were very good points. But where Doug lost it was he kept coughing and had to mute. I fucking hate it. Could you get debating lessons for crying out loud before you come on my show again?
I got throat lost in.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was delicious because it's
Minty.
juicy now, isn't it?
Minty.
I mean, for the record, I did not plan for that, but I was just going to cut Matt off before he started talking. Then he did all that. Then I just want to let him go with stuff. But
Welcome to late night, guys.
but yeah, the movie news kind of went on longer than what I planned for. But yeah, now we're going to go to our main topic, which is DC. Like we've got Birds because of Birds of Prey opening this week. So what I've done is I've kind of sort of broke it up a little bit. So we're talking about the different sort of eras of DC movies rather than sort of throwing it right and talking about it all in a jumble. If we focus it, which was what I should have done last week, but I didn't. But that being said, so we're going to start off by talking about the 70s/80s because even though there was movies sort of before that, the DC movies didn't really get kicked off until Superman sort of came on the scene with Christopher Reeve and all that. But I know one person's thoughts about these movies, but I'm going to start with Ryan. Ryan, what are your thoughts about the Superman movies in the 70s, 80s? And I can't remember if there was anything else DC in this era, but you can talk about anything.
Well, technically, Batman had its movie in 69, so that's around the 70s, so you can include that in this.
But what are your thoughts on movies in 70s, 80s DC related anyway?
I mean, if Tim Burton's Batman is fair game. Then...
Well, I mean, as Matt said, it was 80s.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk about Superman first because I'll go in order here. But the Superman movies of the 70s and 80s. Yes. Christopher Reeve. Yes. I've watched all four of these. Granted, I've watched one and maybe two more so than 1 and 3 and 4, even though I thought 4 as a little kid was enjoyable for what it was, the quest for peace, but whatever. Christopher Reeve, a legend in his own right, played the role best way he could. A lot of people identify him as the ultimate Superman. No one else can beat that. No one can top it. No one can touch him. I get it. For me, those films are okay. They're fine. You can tell they're a bit dated. Some of the stuff in the movies works. Some of the stuff may or may not work. But I do like Superman 2. That's a good one. I will watch that, whether it be the original theatrical cut or the Richard Donner cut. Doesn't matter to me. Superman 2, good movie. General, would you care to step outside? Come on. That's good stuff. The stuff in the Fortress is good too. But as far as the 70s and 80s as a whole, there's really only one, for me anyway, respectfully, Christopher Reeve. Good job, buddy. There's only one movie that's the cream of the crop. There's only one. It's Tim Burton. Tim Burton's Batman, 1989. Grew up on that bad boy. Watched it over and over and over and over and over and over again to the VHS tape broke because I watched it so much. Because I love that movie with all my heart, all my soul, all the fiber of my being. Loves that movie. I will forever love that movie. So for me, Tim Burton's Batman is the cream of the crop that can't be topped as far as the 70s, and 80s era goes, respectfully. I mean, heck, Tim Burton's Batman is one of my top 10 favorite films of all time. So Tim Burton, my hat's off to you, good sir. Love your movie. I will support it to the day I die. I love it to pieces. That's all I got to say about that.
Kristen, what are your thoughts about the DC movies in the 70s and 80s?
I'm not a huge fan of Superman. And Christopher Reeves is a great Superman. I just don't find his character that interesting. 89 Batman is great. I grew up with it. Billy D. Williams, Colt 45. It's great. Everyone loves that. And no, it's a great. I really like that take of the movie. It's dark, like the character was during that time frame in the comics. They were going super gritty and like really like pushing the envelope in terms of the character. And the movie kind of followed that trend, and I thought that it was a good adaptation of that character to the big screen. I wish they would have been able to keep Billy D. Williams for Two-Face, which was the plan for his character, and then that didn't go through and Tim Burton didn't direct the third movie. Is really too bad because I think he could have delivered a really cool Two-Face. But as just that movie goes, I don't know how well that 89 Batman is going to age when you look at it in another decade. Like if my daughter watches that movie, I'm not sure she's going to have the same enjoyment as I did when I saw it. But I think that as the movie goes, it's well made. I love the realization of Gotham. It's very Burton-y, but it kind of works with that time frame, and it feels alive, but also still like a comic. And I think maybe that's why I like it so much. Is it has both. It feels super animated, but also really like real life gritty, and somehow he makes both of those things work really well together.
Doug, can you break Matt's heart even more by talking about the DC movies in the 70s and 80s?
Do you not see my collection back here? Mm-hmm. I got the Death of Superman right about there.
Yeah, but yours isn't bad to like my version.
Do I gotta rip it off my wall and show you that?
No. I mean, I have the one in the black with the red.
Oh, you got the super rare.
Nice.
You got the super rare
packaging.
That's all right. I've got all the holograms of the button.
Nice.
You've got the button.
I have the button. It's the comedian button. No, I think. I mean, Christopher Reeves. What can you say about that man? I mean, regardless of 4, and parts of 3. He gave us probably one of the best Supermans. He made people believe that people could fly. For Batman, it gave me one of my favorite Batmans and Jokers of all time. And I'm not talking about Michael Keaton or Jack Nicholson. I'm talking about one Mark Hamill.
Wait till the 90s, and then we could talk about that movie.
We haven't gotten
I'm just
to that yet.
saying the reason we got that series, guys, was because of the '89 Batman.
This is
Sure.
true.
Oh,
That's the
fair
reason we
enough,
got
fair
that
enough.
series, and I it holds a special
Because of Tim
place in my
Burton and
heart.
Danny
I really enjoy. I enjoy the soundtrack. Prince is the man. Let's be honest.
Party
Prince
man.
is the man.
Party man.
Prince is the man.
Trust.
No, I really enjoy the movie. And then when we get into the '90s, I guess we can talk about it more.
But
It's
yeah,
endlessly quotable too.
but yeah, I haven't watched the Superman movies in ages. But sadly, I do kind of agree that they have got a bit dated. I do think Christopher Reeve is great as Superman. But my favorite movie interpretation of Superman hasn't come up yet. But at 89 Batman, I rewatched this recently, and I think that is just about becoming just about dated as well. I do still like it, and I think it's great. But yeah, Matt, now you can talk about Superman.
Well, first I want to talk about Batman 89. It's an incredible movie. As of right now, it's my favorite Batman movie, although as time goes on, and as I'm in this space, it's still a great movie, but there's another movie we're going to talk about that might be taking that spot for me.
It's The Dark Knight. You love that movie, right?
No, it's another one from
Overrated.
that era, but we'll talk about that movie when we get to the movie. Michael Keaton's still my favorite Batman. I think when I saw that movie, I was in late elementary school, early middle school, and he made a really big impression on me in the same way that when I talk about Christopher Reeve, I'll talk about that. Like, he just, like, and I think also Michael Keaton will forever be the trump card to comic book casting of just like everyone. Like, there was guys, before Twitter existed, there was a letter writing campaign to not have Michael Keaton star in it. And he was amazing in it. That's why it makes no sense when Robert Pattinson gets cast. Everyone's like, oh, he can't be Batman. It's like, you guys have seen 89 Batman. Like, when
Matt, do you remember when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker?
Yeah, it was the same thing. It was the same.
I was very
exact thing.
trepidatious about
It
that.
was
when
you can't get.
Ben Affleck was cast as Batman.
I remember the
People
night Ben
are
Affleck
very
was cast.
protective of these
No,
characters.
this is the thing. I remember the night Ben Affleck was cast because there was like 98% of Twitter was, this is going to suck. It's going to be terrible. And it was just me and Kevin Smith go like, oh my God, Ben Affleck is Batman. This is amazing. But to get back, so yeah, Jack Nicholson is incredible. He's my second favorite Joker. The movie looks incredible. I almost bought it on 4K every week, even though I don't own a 4K player, mostly just for the Blu-ray, because
Nice.
I actually got to see this movie when they did the Fathom re-release, and it was incredible. It looked beautiful. It looked wonderful. That's why I'm going to go and pick up the 4K for the Blu-ray, just because it looks fantastic. Danny Elfman, which we haven't mentioned yet, his soundtrack is incredible. That theme will forever be the Batman theme. When I think of that character, I think of that, and I implore you guys to. He doesn't really make videos anymore, but Golden Tusk on YouTube, he used to make videos where he would put lyrics to movie themes that had no lyrics. He did one for Batman, and it's amazing. But to get to the big one. For people, which I'm sure there are some people on here who haven't followed this channel or whatever for a long time, Superman is my favorite superhero of all time. Christopher Reeves is pretty much the reason why that is. I was in 5th grade, and I was my intro to comic books and everything was Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, the Cartoon Network shows, and I just loved those shows growing up, and that got me comic books. And then when I was in 5th grade, I got money from my grandma, and we were going to Walmart that day, the day I got the money, and I decided to buy. They still do this, but Walmart does these collections where it's like 4 movies from a studio all just slapped onto like 2 discs that are two-sided, and it was Superman. It's like, oh, he's from Justice League Unlimited. I love that show. Maybe I should watch these movies. And so I took my pocket money and I bought it, and I went home. It was Valentine's Day, actually, was the day that I watched it. I'm really trying to not seem like a loser getting emotional talking about this movie, but watching that movie and seeing that performance changed who I was going to be as a comic book fan forever. And it was at that, during that, the runtime of that movie, that character became my hero. And the things he instilled in me from that age to now have not left me. And it really is Christopher Reeve's interpretation that did it. And you guys have said it, and I've heard this multiple times, and I'm not trying to be debatable. And again, this is probably nostalgia, and just I'm way too attached to this movie and this character. But when people say that movie is outdated, and I'm not saying this is the reason you guys are saying that, and we don't need to have a Sam Raimi repeat, but to me, that's kind of the purpose, is that Superman is supposed to be outdated because he is the character in that film that, you know, that movie, although it's very 70s and everything, it's very much, you know, a lot of bad people who care about themselves and only want they only look out for number one. And here comes this alien whose sole existence is to look for good in people and believe that at their core they're good and defend that. You know, you have that moment when he's in the pool with the kryptonite, and there's Miss Tessmacher, who throughout the entire film has been a lackey to Lex Luthor, helped steal a warhead, and he believes that she's going to help him despite all this. And it's incredibly... but the moment for me is when Lois dies, and he barely gets to her. And he pulls open the door, and the woman he loves is dead, and he couldn't do anything. And throughout the movie, Jor-El has been implanting into him that you cannot affect the course of human events. You are not allowed to. And Superman decides to listen to his father, but his true father, which was Jonathan Kent, when he says, "Son, you were sent here for a reason." And that is the moment, and people can laugh at the stupidity of the turning the world around, whatever, but to me, it's so powerful. And to have that thing that, you know, he comes there, and of course she's fine. She's like, "Why are you never around when someone needs you?" You know, and he knows what he just went through. That movie is in my top 10 favorite films. It's always going to hold a special place in my heart. There's never going to be a Superman that can surpass Christopher Reeves. There's never going to be a comic book movie that can surpass that film, even though there are great ones that have come out, and there are great ones that are still going to come out. And it is a movie that people can forever tell me is dumb, and it's dated, and the costume looks stupid, and Christopher Reeves is too much of a Boy Scout, and it's too smiley. To me, that's just who the character is. He's supposed to be outdated, and he's supposed to be classic, and he's supposed to stick out, but because he cares about people. And it's... I'm sorry I've prattled way too long about this movie, but I really have never had a chance to really talk about this movie in this way. But it's as you guys can tell, it's a very important film to me. So I will let this conversation continue real fast. I think Superman 2 is a brilliant follow-up. I like both versions. I think the Jor-El scenes in the Donner cut are better than the stuff with his mom, but I think the ending scene with Lois in the theatrical cut, where she talks about how she doesn't think she can handle it because she's going to be jealous of the fact that she has to share Clark with the world, is amazing. So there's a perfect interpretation if Warner Brothers would just sit down, which they never would. And then I think the fight between Clark Kent and Superman 3 is one of the best comic book scenes ever made, even though the movie itself sucks.
But yeah, now we move on to the 90s, which began a really interesting time because the movies, like, yes, we say DC movies, but basically the 90s was Batman in the movies. And on the TV side was where they were doing the other superheroes, which was big. I had the TV series of Flash. We had Lois and Clark, and that's basically it that we had on the TV side of things. Even though you can probably argue that the pilots for the Flash are movies, but
It was technically a TV movie. It had a 90-minute runtime. And it was released theatrically in other parts of the world.
Thank you. I mean, it's one of those ones in which, but yeah, I'm going to start with Matt. Matt, what are your feelings on the Batman movies of the 90s?
Just Batman or just DC in general?
Well, I mean, as I said, basically the movies was just Batman in this.
Maybe Matt wants to talk about Steel.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's a comic book movie.
Wow.
I don't want to say this, but Malcolm, I'm just saying, people might think you're prejudiced against basketball players because you forgot about Steel. I won't say it. I'm just saying people might say it. Steel is like, you remember all that stuff I said about Superman? I was lying. I was talking about Steel actually. We just didn't get to it yet. No. Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is really quickly, guys, if you've never seen the Flash 90 show with John Wesley Shipp, it's on DC Universe right now. It's on iTunes. You can find the DVD set really easily. It is my favorite superhero show of all time. It is incredible. John Wesley Shipp is one of the greatest superhero performances we'll ever see. You can hear me debate more about that on TMG's Late Night Debates. Spoilers, I won the debate, and I took down another very popular series from the 90s as well, Batman the Animated Series. I won that. So Batman movies, we had Batman Returns, which I think is really weird. But I like some stuff. The stuff I really like is the Selina and Bruce relationship. I like the fact that Bruce thinks that they're so similar that he can help her, only to get to the end of the movie to where she realizes that. Sorry, my computer is dying. That's why I'm putting it down. Bruce realizes, Selina realizes that she's too far gone to ever have like a normal or whatever a normal life with Bruce could be. Like she's even too far gone to have like a weird normal life. And I really like that. Again, the score, I do think the movie doesn't focus nearly as much on Batman. However, it does have my favorite Batman moment in any movies. It's near the end of the film. It's when Max Schreck, when Batman's come down into the sewer, Max Schreck is like, "You're not just saving a man, you're saving a whole town." And Bruce just shoves him and goes, "Shut up. You're going to jail." That is my favorite Batman movie ever on film. It's so Batman. Then we move on to Mask of the Phantasm, was the next theatrically released Batman movie, if we're going chronologically. A brilliant movie. It really took everything about the Batman the Animated Series that just did it theatrically. I like the fact that this movie started to tell the origin story of Bruce. And I think that it has one of the most powerful scenes in any Batman material, which is when he's at his parents' grave crying because he's met someone and he has a happy life and he feels bad for that. Like he apologizes to his parents for being happy, and I love that. I think his relationship with Andrea is interesting. I think that, are we allowed to talk spoilers about this movie? Or I'm on an honest question.
90s.
Okay, so I'm going to spoil it. So, like, the end of the movie, when you find out Andrea is actually the Phantasm, is amazing. And the fact that if you look at the credits, because during the movie, Bruce starts to think that Andrea's father is the Phantasm. And actually, if you look at the credits, the voice actor who plays Andrea's father also does the voice of the Phantasm. So they were really smart with that, sort of like trying to play into that. I kind of like that. Mark Hamill is my favorite Joker. This movie just shows it. He's funny. He's really scary too. And he has the greatest Joker laugh. Like at the end of the movie, when everything's blowing up. It looks like everything's about to go down. Andrea's got him, and he just lets out that laugh, and it is just perfect. It's brilliant. The score by Shirley Walker, rest in peace, is amazing. That main theme is one of the greatest Batman themes that we're ever going to get. Then we move on to 1995's Batman Forever. This is the Batman movie that slowly is replacing 89 as my favorite. As I go back to this movie, Val Kilmer is my favorite Bruce Wayne. It's just a movie that I love to watch, and I love it for the campy aspects, but I also mostly love it because it is trying to tell a real serious story about Bruce realizing that he actually wants to be Batman. That it's not, because in the first movie, he kind of talks about that, he has to be Batman because no one else can do this. And then in this movie, he's sort of trying to leave that life, and then he realizes that he actually wants to be Batman. It's really great, and I think sort of paralleling his story with Dick Grayson, that's very similar, and sort of seeing himself in Dick and being like, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. Like, you have that scene when, he's like, so you're willing to take one life for another, and then and he's like, I'm probably just paraphrasing here, but he's like, well, let's say this, you make the kill, but your pain doesn't die with Harvey, so you go out into the night just trying to kill another and another. And it's like, is he talking to Dick, or is he talking about himself? Because this movie is supposed to be a sequel to Returns in 89, in which 89, Jack Napier is the Joker, and he made that kill. So is he actually talking about himself? That's like, you kill your parents' killer, but like, your pain doesn't die. I think Nicole Kidman and him have great chemistry. I actually really like Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. I really like him, and I think Jim Carrey did they wanted Frank Gorshin's Riddler, and they got Frank Gorshin's Riddler in this movie. Batman and Robin. It was the movie when I was in third grade, I got the VHS tape and I became obsessed with the movie. I watched it once a week. I loved it when I was a kid. I still have a soft spot for it now. I think George Clooney is a really interesting Bruce Wayne. His Batman, not so much, but I think every scene between Bruce and Alfred is incredible. My favorite being the part where Bruce knows Alfred's dying. Alfred knows Bruce knows he's dying. And they have that conversation where Alfred goes, what is Batman? An attempt to control death itself. And Bruce goes, but I can't, can I? Alfred goes, none of us can. To take all the Arnold stuff out, that moment is incredible. It's such a beautiful moment between father and son, essentially, despite the silly elements of it. And I think that's it. Are there any other superhero movies from DC in the 90s that I missed?
I mean, I don't know if it was DC, but there was Phantoms.
Well, Billy Zane is super ripped. I actually talked about this with a coworker at work. Like, it's Billy Zane. I say Billy damn. Like, that's a good looking man in purple spandex.
On that note, Doug, what do you think about the Batman movies of the 90s?
They're fun. The last two of the 90s are campy. Like, so hardcore campy, but I wouldn't trade the Riddler for nothing. I think Jim Carrey's Riddler is great. Like I said, my favorite Batman and my favorite Joker came out of the Mask of the Phantasm and the Batman animated series. Is it Hard on Ice?
Yeah,
Mr.
Heart of
Freeze.
Ice is
Heart of Ice. That was one of the most, if you've
Mr.
not
Freeze.
seen that
Yeah.
episode, that is one of the most heart-wrenching episodes that's probably been on TV ever.
Yeah.
And they showed that to children.
Look that up.
Listen, when you're a kid in the 90s, we got stuff that maybe we shouldn't have watched. But no, I think Tim Burton's sequel to Batman was wonky. Christopher Walken, that movie's okay. he's really deep diving into being Christopher Walken in every scene.
Yawn.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer.
I understood that reference.
Michelle Pfeiffer in that movie is phenomenal.
Mhm.
I think
She's
it
good
showed a
at
real
Catwoman.
gothic form of Catwoman. I think it showed a different form of Catwoman from the comics. Yeah, 90s was 90s. You're gonna have nostalgia for it if you grew up in the 90s.
Um, Preston, what do you feel about the Batman movies of the 90s? And still, if you want to talk about it.
Oh, look at how mad Malcolm guy's like, Foreigner forgot steel. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like Batman Returns. I think that it's like the dark fairy tale version of Batman. So like while the 89 Batman was like a really good marriage between real world and comic, uh Returns kind of went way further into like the animated live action feel. Like it was bonkers in the way only an animated movie could have been, and yet it was still live action. Um, there's some weird stuff in it, but it's fun. Like
Biting a
in
man's nose.
yeah, it's like fun in a dark way. It was like one of the darkest movies I think I saw on repeat as a young child because I was 5 or 4 when this came out. So like, man, I watched this all the time, like all the time. I loved this movie, and yep. There's some dark stuff in here, but I love there's lines I say from this all the time. I was your number one, but you treated me like your number two all the time. That is a great line. Yeah, it's just fun, and I think that it's the best version of Catwoman, the best version of the Penguin we've had so far on film. We'll see.
Hmm.
We'll see. We got a new one coming.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, we do.
When Tim Burton makes a movie the way he wants to make it, it goes there, and you might not like it, but he definitely went where he wanted to go, and it was a huge risk, and I think it paid off personally. But I know not everyone feels that way. Mask of the Phantasm is probably my favorite 90s Batman movie, just because the animated show was amazing. Conroy is my number one Batman, and
Fair enough.
Hamill is my number one Joker, and I just think that it's such a cool story. The flashbacks and everything tell a really cool version of Batman's origin as like Batman and not as Bruce Wayne. And you know, it's that first kind of instance in film, you know, where you get like that tragic love interest for him, I guess, because like you don't get that so much in some of these other live action movies. It's just really solid. It still holds up to me personally. The Sub-Zero movie was fine. Dr. Freeze's
Mhm.
story in that one was so good, and I wish they had been able to capture that same character as the you know the live action version.
They
didn't
tried to.
quite-
If you watch Batman and Robin, they tried to
They
follow
they-
Heart of Ice.
They did a little bit, but somehow the animated
Not really.
version of Dr. Freeze felt more human than the human version of Dr. Freeze did. And I think that part of that movie really more people should maybe watch it for that part of the movie. It's really very good.
I feel like that movie gets a lot of flack
Yeah,
because it's not Mask of the
quite good.
Phantasm, but it's solid.
yeah,
Dude,
there's-
Sub-Zero is a good movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
really quite
solid.
good, and I got it in a pack with Mask of
Yeah.
the Phantasm, and so whenever I watched Mask of the Phantasm, I was
Good
like,
stuff.
oh, I should just turn the disc over because it was one of those where it was just like,
Yeah.
turn the disc over like a VHS.
Flip it over.
Well, not like a VHS, like a record. I'm really
I was gonna say, what VHSs were
Nice.
you watching?
If VHS could have done that, I would never have left my basement.
VHS, baby.
Yeah, and then Returns and Forever. I mean, like Forever and Robin. They're campy, and not my favorite, but there's parts of them I really enjoy, like the Alfred Pennyworth part where he's really sick and it gets very emotional. And I think that if the movies had been able to key into that kind of thing, like the real human characters instead of the butt shots and stuff, I think it would have been a much deeper movie than it ended up being. But the marketing for Batman and Robin was fantastic.
Nipples.
That's
Um,
the marketing.
Oh my
for it.
God.
Taco
And
Bell,
Batgirl.
like marketing for this movie. It's fantastic.
I don't remember the marketing. I was born when this one came out.
and,
Thanks for dating us.
and Ryan,
Buy me dinner first.
what did you feel about the Batman movies of the 90s?
Well, thank you, my good friend Malcolm, for saving the best for last, which is my opinion on this matter. I'll tell you what. I've had a chance to sit down and rewatch these movies and reflect on, do these movies still hold up now than they did when I was a bit younger or what? So with that being said, I did the Fathom events when they re-released all the movies, right? Saw Batman Returns, weird movie, not really a Batman movie for me. It's just Tim Burton having fun with his toys. All right, fine. Despite the relationship between Bruce and Selena Kyle in that movie, that's good stuff. I'll give you that. Batman Forever, I like the marketing. I was the guy who got the little Batmobile toy, I think, but I definitely remember going to McDonald's and getting those ridiculously good-looking glass mugs imprinted with certain designs of Batman Forever on them. That was fun.
I remember those
That was
mugs.
fun.
I made
Yeah,
an
you know what I'm
one on
talking about
Amazon
out there in
trying
the
to buy the
internet. You know what I'm
Velcro
talking
one.
about. You were there. I was there. You were there. So, with that being said, Batman Returns is a weird movie. Batman Forever, I think, gets a little bit thrown under too many buses. I think it's an actually good film. I think it's a good, solid Batman film. Is it the greatest? No. But I appreciate it and respect it. I didn't see that comment. I'm sorry. A little bit more and more. And as far as Batman
Someone
and
watched
Robin
Second
goes,
Look, Ryan.
man, that movie is it's got issues. It's real bad. Arnold Schwarzenegger ruins and destroys that movie for me. That is not Victor Fries. That is not how that character should be portrayed in any medium whatsoever. The animated series did it a billion times better. And also, the more I watch Mask
I
of the
didn't mean to cool over your parade, but I want to stop this bullshit about
Thank
me
you.
having a bad performance.
So
in
So
Batman
Arnold,
and
I got a
Robin.
question for you. Arnold, since you're
Yes.
here with us, I got a question for you.
Oh, yes.
Do you
yes.
really think you portrayed a scientist well?
Oh, look at it. No, you know why? I totally did because I got training on Junior with Danny DeVito early in the 90s. I was doing the same thing. If you didn't see that movie, I got pregnant as a baby. My nipples were sensitive, just like my bat nipples.
All right,
You
another
can let
question
me
for
play
you.
Batman.
Another question for you. Another
Yes.
question for you.
Ah,
Were you roided out during that movie?
I'm always right at that. It was the 90s. I was always right at that. I was having the sex with so many people. Just
And you're made.
Hotel Maria. Are there any other questions? We'll start a Batman and Robin. Also, fuck George Clooney. I should have gotten top Billy. Stupid ER bastard. I should have been Batman. I would have been amazing. Listen, everybody, listen to me. Listen to me. I'm Batman. Ow, ow.
But
I
would
should
you have
be
fit in the
Batman.
suit?
Oh, I would have fit in the suit. I would have got nude for it. They could have painted the suit on me. Ow.
I mean, it would make sense that we had bat nipples then.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sure, he didn't want to
You
do
sold
that.
me, Arnold. You sold me.
Oh, all right. Thank you. It was amazing being here. I'm going to go get drunk with Vin Diesel. Oh, goodbye, everybody. Oh, put the cookie down. My room is very weird tonight.
Gee willikers, can I finish my point? Thank you, whoever that was that just showed up to the booth. Okay,
All right.
so
Impression wasn't
as
that
I was
bad.
saying before, some dude named Arnold walked into the room and rudely interrupted me for another time. Anyway, so Mask of the Phantasm. The more I watch that movie, the more I realize not only is it really, really good, it's just a great film. Period. Like it is to me, to a certain extent. At least in this era, as much as I like Batman Forever, Mask of the Phantasm beats it by like 1,000 miles. It's like the Citizen Kane of these movies here. This thing is phenomenal from start to finish. It is haunting. It is relentless. It never lets up. Great story told by phenomenal voiceover actors, phenomenal score, phenomenal direction. Whoever worked on this movie should have gotten honorary Oscars for this film because I didn't even know it was theatrically released back then. If I had known if it was theatrically released, I would have made my parents taking me to go see this freaking movie no matter how dark it is. I love the heck out of this movie. It's like I said, dark, bit quotable. Mark Hamill to me is like the devil in this movie. He gives an incredible performance. When he given him everybody in this movie an Oscar, and it's a great film. Period. So to see the origin story and Andrea Beaumont from Dana Delaney to go from playing that character of that / Phantasm to playing Lois freaking Lane in the Superman animated series, like that is like literally night and day. It is incredible what Dana Delaney, we love you by the way, Dana, what she is able to do in both that movie and the TV series. My goodness gracious. But yeah, some of those scenes when I was a kid, like almost pretty much to a certain extent gave me nightmares. Like the one where he's interrogating what's his name? The guy, darn it, what's his name? Arthur Reeves, whatever his name is. Yeah. When he's in his office and he throws him on his desk, he's like, makes you want to laugh, doesn't it, Asa? And then it's like, oh my God. Like I feel like I'm watching the devil at work. It's insanity, but it's great work. It's great stuff. So yeah, 90s had some bumps in the road, but Batman Forever and Mask of the Phantasm especially, and Sub-Zero too. I'm going to throw that one in there. That trilogy of films, good stuff. I'm down. I'll watch them any place, anytime, anywhere. They're good Batman movies. So that's what I got for you on the 90s there.
But yeah, for me, when it comes to the 90s Batman movies, for me, Batman, I enjoy Batman Forever more than I enjoy Batman 89 at this stage. And so, and the like Batman for Robin is not. It's an ice movie. It's really ice.
No, it's a bad movie, is what it is.
But yeah, but I still think Batman and Robin is better than Master of the Phantasm. I did not enjoy Master of the Phantasm.
Who can?
Wait a minute. Are you serious right now? Or are you joking?
Time out.
got the
Here's the
ejection
reason
button?
why. Here's the reason why. Batman and Robin is the reason why me and Malcolm won our first fandom match. That's why he likes it, because we were in like, what was it, like 5-time like tiebreakers, and the question was who kills Poison Ivy in that movie, and I was the only person who got it, and it's Batgirl, and I even said the line. Yeah.
Still does
But
not
yeah,
justify saying it's better than Mask of the Phantasm.
Dude, no one in their right mind would ever say that. I don't think.
I mean, people say I'm not in the right mind anyway, so you're probably true.
Jeez.
But I watched it for the first time last year. I don't know if it was because I've never really seen the animated series and jumped into this and just didn't understand all that, but I just thought it was boring and I didn't enjoy it. It's not one that I really gravitated to. But anyway, we are running short of time, but so I'm going to just lump the last 2 decades into one. In the 2000s to now, we had a lot of DC movies. They kind of went all out because we had the Nolan Batman trilogy. We had Superman Returns. We had Green Lantern. We had Man of Steel. We had Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad.
Shazam!
Yeah, that one. The great Schmodown team.
Send in the clouds.
Joker. We had a lot. We had Aquaman, we had Wonder Woman. They started to branch out into them. Some of them worked. Some of them was Ryan Reynolds.
We don't talk about that movie. Ryan Reynolds killed him off before that movie was ever created.
We don't talk about GL.
But Kristen, what do you think of the DC movies in this last couple of decades?
That's a lot of movies. Okay, Catwoman sucks.
It's a lot.
I love Constantine. I think it's the right kind of awful, and it's
all right.
I love it. Batman Begins, my second favorite Batman movie of all time. Superman Returns. I wish it had been less boring because I think it actually was well acted. Dark Knight, my number 1 Batman movie of all time.
Oh, there it is. I see it now.
Watchmen. It came out in 2009. I love this. I think it's great. I think
Oh
it's
boy.
a fantastic adaptation of this story.
You
and
stay
I know
up
it's
there.
Not, fantastic that everyone thinks it's amazing, but I liked it. I really liked it. The only thing I didn't like is that I went to see this movie with my dad, and there was a giant blue penis on the screen for half of it.
Weren't expecting that.
I guess technically you could count V for Vendetta as a DC movie.
You absolutely can.
Also, Road
Yeah.
to Perdition.
Mhm.
Also, A History of Violence. All three of those movies are 100% some of the best adaptions of graphic novels to ever be put to film. So if you haven't seen
Truth.
any of those three movies, you probably should. Return of the Joker, which is a Batman Beyond movie. I really enjoyed half of it because Mark Hamill completely just like annihilated everything in that movie. Oh gosh, and then the 2010s. I really enjoy Dark Knight Rises. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I think that the scenes that they basically ripped from the Nightfall series of comics were fantastic and well done. And I ignore all the plot conveniences because I think that a lot of this movie is fantastic. Man of Steel, it's great. I really enjoy it. My favorite Superman movie. I'm sorry, Matt. Dawn of Justice. I won't talk about it. Wonder Woman is fantastic. I love Wonder Woman. So good. It's so good. 100% Wonder Woman was like the turning point of DC where everyone was just like, oh yeah, they're gonna make good movies now. Even though like Man of Steel was good and just people ignored that it was good. Justice League, I won't say anything about it. Aquaman was great. I loved Aquaman. Shazam was great. I loved Shazam. The Joker was, I won't say anything about it because people won't want to hear my hot takes. And then
one's allowed.
animated movies, we had Batman Year One, which was fine. And then we had Batman Under the Red Hood, which was fantastic. It was so good. You had Jensen Ackles, who was fantastic. You had Neil Patrick Harris as Nightwing, which who is my favorite Batman character. So I'm 100% really happy that he finally got into a movie and was very well done. And it's just a really, really great animated adaptation of that story. So if you haven't seen that, you really should because it's super good. It's my number 3 from like the 2010s, 2000, 2000s. But yeah, that's all of them. That's all the movies. I did it.
Doug, what do you think about the movies?
So I'm gonna do one live action movie, Joker. I loved it. Because everybody else is gonna go over all the live action. I want to go over some of the animated movies. There have been some of my favorite animated movies from a comic series. The 2009 Wonder Woman is great. 2008 Batman Gotham Knight. I think it's a great anthology 6-film short film. It literally led into like The Dark Knight. Justice League Crisis on Two Earths was great. Batman Under the Hood. All-Star Superman, fantastic. Batman Year One, I loved it. Justice League Doom was a great version of the JLA Tower of Babel. The Dark Knight Part 1 and Part 2, fantastic. Justice League Flashpoint Paradox is probably one of my favorite of all time, just because Flash is one of my favorite characters of all time. Not my Barry Allen. Justice League War, great. Son of Batman. Damian is probably my second favorite Robin, next to Dick. That didn't sound right, but
Oof.
I enjoy
I mean,
Damian.
his name is Dick.
Let's
so-
not get into Dick, guys. All right.
Richard, I'll say Richard. Batman versus Robin, which is a really great storyline that involves the Courts of Owls. Gods and Monsters is fantastic. It's an Elseworld. Zod was Superman's father. It's intense. Batman is literally a vampire. Just great. Bad Blood is great. Half of the Killing Joke is amazing.
Oof.
That's why I said half. I didn't say the first half. I said the second half, where they
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
retell the goddamn comic book. Let me like parts of the movie that I like. Teen Titans Judas Contract is great. I'm trying to go down. Teen Titans Go to the Movies. That movie gets too much flack. I really enjoy that movie for what it is.
Give us Nick Cage as Superman.
It has Nick Cage as Superman. What more could you want? And it
That
has
was one of
Jimmy-
the darkest jokes in a movie I've ever seen, which is when they're trying to set everything right with the superheroes, and you literally see the Teen Titans shoved Thomas and Martha Wayne into Crime Alley to get shot.
It's so bad, but it's so great. Batman Hush, I think, gets a lot of hate, but I actually really enjoy this animated version. And Wonder Woman
Interesting.
Bloodline is fantastic. Yeah, I want to talk about the animated films because I really think DC, their game, while their films, like their live action films, are wonky at times, their animated films are usually on point and really, really good. That's why Batman the Animated Series is still my favorite animated series of all time.
Ryan, what do you think about DC movies of the past couple of decades?
Thank you, Doug, for naming all 50,000 DC movies that came out during this period of time. My gosh, it's a long list. DC, what are you doing to me?
Making great entertainment.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Some of the a lot of the titles that a lot of our fellow panelists mentioned, I won't go into because you've already mentioned how good or great or so and so, whatever they are. So I'm just going to focus on theatrically released films to save us some time. So. Of this era specifically, I'm going to go with Batman Begins. Love that movie. It's my favorite of the Nolan trilogy. Great origin story. It's different from the other takes we've seen on the character. To see different villains in a movie is fantastic with Scarecrow, Ra's al Ghul, League of Shadows, League of Assassins, whatever. The Tumblr was kind of cool. Lucius Fox, Morgan freaking Freeman doing his thing. It's cool. I dig it. The Dark Knight Rises is an underrated film. I love The Dark Knight Rises. To me, it's far better than The Dark Knight. There, I said it, Internet. It's way better than The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is overrated. It's a fact, Jack. No, it's not a fact. It's just my opinion, but whatever. Love Dark Knight Rises. I will defend that movie to the grave. So inspiring with that score. That scene where he climbs out of that hole. Oh, my God, it's so good. Dark Knight Rises, we love you, man. And also, Aquaman is a fun, badass movie of Jason Momoa kicking ass, taking names, breaking necks, and cashing checks. I love it. I enjoy it. I don't care what people say. That's right. Thank you, Doug. It is the hot take. Yeah, Aquaman is fantastic. I could watch that movie whenever. It's a fun movie. It's a fun ride. Good cast, too. Well-rounded cast. Great visual effects. James Wan is a master of his craft, and he did it very well with this DC particular film. Also, my favorite, if you've never met me before, if you've never seen me on this show before, if you have no idea who Ryan is, I'll tell you this. My favorite interpretation of this character, my favorite casting of this character, my favorite score from a comic book movie, my favorite just well-rounded cast for the most part, in this movie, and certain scenes in this movie just inspire me to keep going day in and day out, no matter how good, bad, ugly my days get. It doesn't matter. You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you. They will stumble. They will fall. But in time, they will join you in the sun. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders. If that scene from Man of Steel 2013 does not get you out of your chair and make you want to make a change in this world and do something with your life, I don't know what will, honest to God. Love Man of Steel. Saw it 5 times in the theater. I will defend that movie no matter what anyone says. Henry Cavill is the best Superman cinematically that has ever been, the best there ever was, and the best there ever will be. Russell Crowe's Jor-El, best inspirational figure in a film I've seen in a long time. And that quote gets me every time in the feels, no matter what happens. The 3-minute trailer online alone is a masterpiece of marketing. It's a masterpiece of filmmaking. Zack Snyder. I didn't think you could do it because I liked 300, didn't love it, but I liked it. And Watchmen was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that I don't want to go into. That's a bad film and a weird film all on its own. But Zack Snyder came in and took this character to new levels of new depths, of new emotions, new heart, new soul, everything else. And he nailed it. So Zack Snyder, from the bottom of my Superman-loving heart, I thank you. Man of Steel is the best. That's all I got to say about that. I'm done. We can talk about Man of Steel all night, but I'm not going to waste anyone's time. Thank you for having me. Man of Steel is the cream of the crop. Thank you so much. That's it for me.
Send in the clowns.
Matt, anything you want to add to any of those movies?
I hate when this happens and I have to go last because everyone said so many. Catwoman is right behind A Good Day to Die Hard as my least favorite film of all time. It's total crap. Like, it is. It's my poor parents, because of my dad's job, were forced to go to the premiere of that movie. And I remember them coming home and, like, my dad just had, like, a 1,000-mile stare He was just like, I don't know what the fuck I just saw. Going through. There's so many fucking movies. Batman Begins is my favorite of the trilogy. I think it's a fantastic movie. I think out of all the Dark Knight trilogy films, it has the most three-act structure to it. The other two don't really have three-act structure, and I'm someone who I like my films to have a clear sort of like defined beginning, middle, and end. Dark Knight, it's the Imperial March of DC movies. Me and Kristen will talk about that on this channel. Very.
We don't need to hear your bad take about the Imperial March.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry for having an opinion. Dark Knight Rises, I like more than most. I think it has a lot of problems, but there's still things that I like about it. Man of Steel, I love. I think it's great. I don't think it. I don't think it's as good as Chris Reeve movie, but it still is a great interpretation. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I always have the poster right over my shoulder when I'm on videos here. I love that movie in a lot of ways, and not just because of my admiration for him as an actor. Ben Affleck is like, I still give it to Keaton, but in a lot of ways, Ben Affleck really is my favorite Batman. I just think he captures a lot of the characters. He captures a lot of what I like about the character. I like his Bruce Wayne. I think Gal Gadot is really good in that movie as well, and Henry Cavill is still great. I like the ending of that movie. Particularly, I love the part right at the end to where Wonder Woman's like, man made a world where standing together is impossible, and Bruce has the speech where he's like, men are so good, we fight, we destroy, but at our core we're good. It's really powerful, and it's kind of why I like DC is that they're very clear as like, people are bad and they do bad things, but at their core there are good people who will do good things. No one mentioned it, and I guess it's suitable that I'm the sole person to mention. I love Justice League. I think Justice League is great. It comes down to, I just really love the interpretations of the characters they gave me. I liked the story. Star Drew, disagreeing with you, whatever. Hey, it takes different strokes to move the world. I think that movie is great. I love, again, that relationship between Batman and Wonder Woman. They continue to develop, which I really like, and particularly after rewatching Justice League Unlimited, I like the fact that they continue that sort of. It's really fun movie. I just always have fun watching it. I like Superman in that movie, how they reintroduce him. I like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I love the part when he's accidentally holding the lasso of truth. He starts talking about how like he doesn't want to die because there's so many things he hasn't done, and they're all staring at him, and then he realizes that he has the lasso. I like Ezra Miller's Flash. I think he's different. I'm glad they didn't try to do Grant Gustin. They went more Wally West with the Flash, even though it's Barry Allen, but I still liked it. And I think I'm trying to Joker. I'll say this about Joker. There were actors in that movie, and a director directed that film, and a person did the score to that film, and I paid money for a ticket to see. You know, actually, no, I didn't pay money to see that movie. I actually got because my theater fucked up with my screening of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, that I actually got 2 ticket vouchers, and I actually used a voucher for that, so I didn't pay for that movie. And I'm happy I didn't.
But yeah, if anyone wants to hear more about your thoughts about the unofficial Superman trilogy, Matt, where can they hear them?
I was going to plug that at the end, but I guess I'll do that now. I know it's a joke that I plug my things, but yes, I have changed. This month's episode of Second Look was supposed to be on Rocky 3. I've pushed that into next month, and it might have to be pushed further. I decided this month's Second Look is going to be on. It's an unofficial trilogy, but the Superman trilogy, which is Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League. The reason why I did this is because with Birds of Prey, I guess it started coming up. There's just been a lot of talk about the DCU, and have a lot of thoughts on the movies because, as Kristen would know, we've actually had quite a few conversations. I'm a very big fan of these three films, and I want to just be able to talk about it. And it's for those of you who've never watched Second Look, it's not going to be a video where I sit there and I tell you why you're wrong for not liking Justice League. It's really just it's a show where I try to spread positivity and kind of just give you the other side of the coin. Kind of here are the reasons why I think these character interpretations work and why the story works for me. It's going to be, again, it's probably going to be a little bit lengthier. It's not going to be the same. I'm not going to look at each individual film. I'm going to really more look at the trilogy as a whole and why it's kind of going to boil down to why the DCU works for me. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy that when that comes out.
No, it's not Starger.
But yeah, this does bring us to the end of late night. We've gone for about 2 hours, 20 minutes, talking about DC and Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi.
So unfortunately, that does mean we're not going to get any time for the game or the viewer questions that we got. But I will.
Oh man, no viewer questions.
Is what it is. Next
I
time.
answered one. Starger had a question about Sin City. Was it DC? It's not.
It must. You're correct.
But what I'll do is the questions that we got for this episode, they'll carry them over to next week, and then, which I don't know what the topic will be yet. But we'll go around doing plugs. But Matt, we all know one thing we can find you. Where else do you want to? Anything else you want to plug?
Absolutely nowhere. You guys can find me on Twitter at Kearns_Matthew. You can find me on my own personal YouTube channel, MattMoves611. Please check out the new series that I'm starting to do that I've titled The Best. It's simply where every episode is just going to be me talking about my favorite of anything. It's not just going to have to be movie and TV related. The first episode that went up in January was my favorite YouTube video, which is Doug Walker's The Review Must Go On. Please go check it out. If you like it, share it around. Other things I already said. Second Look. If it sounds like my description of the show interested you, you can find the playlist on the channel. I've really enjoyed doing the series. It's one of my favorite things that I've ever worked on. And that's pretty much it, because there's another show that is in development that I can't quite talk about, but that is taking up my time to not be on Schmoedown content, which, if those of you who don't know, no more Schmoedown content for me this year, but that's because I'm hoping to expand this channel with Second Look and this new show. So hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully, unlike all the other adventures ever done on this channel, you actually watch it.
Ryan, where can people find you online?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Malcolm, and everybody here at Take 3 for having me on the show tonight. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at RyanRPM5. You can find me on Facebook, Ryan Permison - Aspiring Movie Critic. Check out my podcast. It's called The Nerdcast. You can find it on Anchor. Just look at my name, Ryan. Just look up The Nerdcast, Ryan Permison. That's RyanPermison. I give quick movie reviews of some of the movies I've seen, whether it be the more recent films or films of the past. Recently, I've been catching up on a lot of films that came out a few years ago or maybe a decade or so ago. So that's been a lot of fun to watch those films for the first time and see how they are. Check that out. And once again, Instagram, Twitter at RyanRPM5. Check out the Nerdcast. Subscribe to my podcast. Would love to hear your feedback on it. You can download it wherever your podcasts are available. You can catch me competing in the various movie trivia fan leagues, whether it be with Multiplex or Full Metal, that kind of stuff. You'll see me there. And who knows? Maybe I'll be back on Late Night with Take 3. Hopefully I did a good job and didn't mess up and didn't get put in detention. So we'll see what happens. But thank you very much for having me. And yeah, that's what I got.
Kristen, where can people find you online?
You can find me arguing with Doug about Sam Raimi.
Everywhere.
Sorry, I take my beatings.
We cool, Doug. I appreciate your opinion. about everything. You can find me Smith_K10, the number, not the word, on Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust, even though I don't post anything on Stardust. I got a new follower the other day. Thank you.
So you're getting plugging.
Thank you so much. You can also find me right here on Take 3 hosting the summit. We haven't really, there's been no real push to put anything out since there's been no matches, and I just don't feel like going over the same thing that 20 other shows are talking about in terms of the news and everything. We already covered the draft, so we'll be back on hopefully Monday to talk about the matches from this week. And there's another show in production that we can't talk about yet, but maybe it'll be filmed soon, maybe on Sunday.
Doug, where can people find you online?
Check me out on Twitter at Douglas_Castle. Real simple. Castle spelled differently though. It's CASSEL. Super easy to find. Hopefully things work out with the show that I was working on, and it comes back. Hopefully D&D comes back. I'm tossed up right now because people, schedules, life. Yeah. Also, make sure to check out the reaction. That'll be up either today or tomorrow. We're tossed up in there.
Yeah, that shit ain't happening today, man. Oh, we still in there?
And you can find me tomorrow with Rankum. We're talking about top 12 DC supervillains. And I've made it a little bit difficult on my panel because we've already done a Batman villain episode. I'm only limiting Batman to only 2 for this list.
Come on, calendar, man.
But yeah, you can also find me doing late night next every Friday. I'm best up on days because it's technically said day for me, but it's Friday for America. But you can also you can find me doing late night. I don't know what the topic is. It might be rom-coms. It might be Oscars.
Romantic book adaptations.
Wait a second. Yeah, it's Valentine's Day. Why wouldn't we do rom-coms?
Emma comes out next week.
There was that as well. But yeah, there's so many options.
Unlike my dating life on
I'll
Valentine's Day.
I'll probably make an announcement later. But yeah, you can also find me in the fan leagues all over the place. But for now, until next time, if everyone here, it's good to see you, and we'll see you again. I really don't have a good sign-off phrase for this yet.
We'll figure it out.